Okay, good evening. I'm going to call this session of the Ridgefield City Council to order. Would you please rise and join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Miss Diana, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Councilmember Favela.
Councilmember Favela.
Yes, here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Councilmember Burkle.
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chipman.
Here.
Mayor Cole.
Here. Thank you very much. Mr. Stewart, are there any late changes to the agenda?
No late changes, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to move on with our agenda. You can see we have quite a lot going on tonight, and I'm excited about this because there's quite a few appointments we're going to be doing tonight, and it's good to see that a lot of our new appointees are here. So we have some appointments to Planning Commission, to the Parks Board, as well as Salary Commission, and the Roundabout Committee, and the Mosquito Control Board as well. And so the way this is going to work is I'm going to go through each one, council, and we'll do each board or commission as a batch, and I'll ask for a motion after each one, but I want to introduce at least everybody who's being nominated tonight. We've been really privileged to have quite a few applicants. We had received, I think, over 20 applicants across all of our boards, so there was a lot of people who applied, and not only just a lot of people, but a lot of really highly qualified people. I'm really impressed at the caliber of people who stepped up and who want to be involved in this community. It's a huge blessing to see that, and just to get a chance to meet everybody. I really wish I could have a spot for everybody who applied, but we have 8 seats to fill, and so we made some hard decisions. But it's good to see everybody here tonight, and thank you very much for stepping up to serve your community. This is a really big deal, and this is the success and progress of this community really rests on an active and engaged population who are committed to helping us build that collective vision that we're all striving towards, that's balanced and affordable community that is also inclusive. And so thank you very much for putting yourselves out there and being willing to serve. We are very privileged to have you here. So first up is Planning Commission. For position 2, I'm nominating Stephen Moylan. Stephen has lived with his wife in Ridgefield for 5 years. He comes from, I think hails from Illinois, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, if I'm correct, and he is formerly an environmental engineering manager and worked for the county in Illinois as well. He's got a long history of community service. He's served in churches and soup kitchens and with the U.S. Forest Service, and so we're really glad to have him here. Secondly, we have Justin Raczak. Justin comes to us from the tech field. Justin speaks my language. I come from tech a little bit too, but he was a product manager, and he worked for companies like Thumbtack and Cloudflare. And currently, he is our Mosquito Control Board Commissioner. And he also, we're anxiously waiting for construction to finish that Hillhurst commercial, because once that opens up, he will be the proprietor of Cheeky Noodles, which is going to be a restaurant there. So looking forward to that. So Justin has been nominated for position number 3. And then lastly, for position number 6, we have Heather Gordon. Heather is a longtime Ridgefield resident who lives up on the plateau. She's a green thumb. She's been deeply involved with the Garden Club. Most recently, she finished her stint as an inaugural member of our Roundabout Committee, and will now be joining us on the Planning Commission as well. So we're glad to have all 3 of you join us. Thank you very much for stepping up to serve. And with that, council, I would entertain a motion for Planning Commission appointments.
I make a motion that we approve these 3 candidates for Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by Councilor Burkle to approve all the nominees, Stephen Moylan, Justin Raczak, and Heather Gordon for Planning Commission. Any discussion, council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for joining again. We're glad to have you here. Next up, hey, let's clap. Next, I don't see Sandy here, but for the Parks Board, I'm nominating Sandy Schill as a reappointment to her position number 6. Sandy has just completed her first term on Parks Board. She shares a deep love for parks. For those of you who don't know, it's a big deal to her. She's very passionate about the direction of parks and trails in our community. She's actually a registered nurse that serves in a specialty cardiothoracic surgery unit, and she's also has been for the last few years the festival director for the 4th of July committee, and she's taken on a tall order for that and been deeply involved in Ridgefield for a long time. And so it's glad to see Sandy come back for another term. With that, I don't see Sandy here. Nope. Council, I would entertain a motion to appoint Sandy Schill to the Parks Board.
Motion to approve Sandy Schill to position 6 on the Parks Board.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been motioned by Councilor Davis, seconded by Councilor Wells. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much, Council, and congratulations to Sandy. Next tonight, we have 2 appointments to the Salary Commission. This is a 5 or 7 person board. Five? But we have 2 open seats here. This is really this is the board that determines how much we get paid as public officials, but it's a very important position, and they provide a necessary check and balance here in local government, and so we're glad to have them. For position 3, I'm nominating Doug Michael. Doug has lived here for 3.5 years. He's enjoyed a long career in sales and operations, including a role where he actually oversaw compensation for sales teams at Intel. He's now semi-retired and does consulting and lives in town with his wife, and so we're glad to have Doug's expertise and contribution to our Salary Commission. Additionally, we have Shirley Cummings to position 4. Shirley moved to Ridgefield just a couple of years ago, and she actually relocated from Israel, right? You came straight from Israel, so it's immigrated here. She's got deep experience in community development. Her resume is full of a variety of different community development roles, and has participated since she got here at the Union Ridge Elementary PTO, and she's also participated more recently on the Diversity and Equity Committee at the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. So we are glad to have you here as well and to join us on the Salary Commission. So, Council, with that, I would accept a motion for both Doug and Shirley to the Salary Commission.
I move to approve both Doug and Sally to the Salary Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hamilton, seconded by Councilor Burkle. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you and congratulations. What's that?
Should have had them raise their hands.
I should. Oh, yes, we can do that. Yeah. And then also tonight to the Roundabout Committee, we have 2 appointments here. First up for position 1, Joel Fondrich. Did I say that right? Fondrick. Okay, yes. Joel is actually a longtime resident here. He's a business professional. He's got over 25 years experience in construction with building materials and project management. He's volunteered with organizations including Feed the Need, Homeless Outreach Program, the City Team Ministries, Toys for Tots, Meals on Wheels, and most currently he's a member of the Ridgefield Main Street Outreach Committee. He joined that earlier this year. So we're glad to have Joel and his contribution. It's been great getting to know him over the past year, I guess. Secondly, we have Katie Wills. Good to see you. Thank you for coming to position 2. Katie is a certified professional wetland scientist who earlier this year actually co-founded an environmental consulting firm and is based right here in Ridgefield. She's actively involved in the Ridgefield community as well as a school volunteer and a parent of a child with special needs. And she's a supporter of local environmental initiatives like the Watershed Alliance. And she also brings a wealth of community-focused mindset and a commitment to making Ridgefield a great place to live for all families. And so, again, we're glad to have you here, as well as Joel, who's going to serve on our Roundabout Committee. Thank you very much. Council, I would accept a motion for Roundabout Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I move to appoint Joel and Caitlin to the Roundabout Committee.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Favela, seconded by Councilor Hamilton. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes. And then lastly, yeah. And last we have Mariana Avalos, as I say it right? Yes, yeah. Who moved up here from Southern California. And it was just a real pleasure to get to know Mariana through the interview process and hearing a little bit about your background. You've been involved with the schools. You have kids at Southridge, correct? Or Union Ridge, sorry, that's right, yeah. And she was looking to get involved as well. And what I love about it is because I'm a former mosquito control board commissioner, and I kind of wear that with pride. And when I happened to mention that to her during the interview process, she was like, "There's a mosquito control board in Clark County," and she was very excited about it. And that's the kind of people we need for roles like that. And we just appreciate your passion because it really is a fun job and it's a great way to get involved. It was kind of a foray into public service for me. So thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for stepping up, and thank you for being here tonight. So, Council, I would accept the motion to appoint Maria Avalos to the Mosquito Control Board.
I move to appoint Maria to the Mosquito Control Board.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor? Oh, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you. You do a lot of those. You get kind of tripped up. You don't stay perfect for so long. So, okay, thank you everybody for joining here tonight. We're so glad to have you. Staff is going to be in touch with each one of you about next steps. There's going to be an orientation process for each of one of your boards or commissions. But again, thank you so much. It means the world to all of us here that you're willing to serve. Okay, we're going to move on in our agenda tonight. We're going, oh, yeah.
No, nothing.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Anybody wishing to address City Council regarding items not subject to a specific public hearing may come forward at this time to the podium and or use the raise hand feature located on the toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. For controls over the phone, press *9 to raise hand and press *6 to mute or unmute. Please state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is, my name is Michael Jennings. I'm very careful about spending money. I'm very careful about spending even for things that cost only 5 cents. I notice at city council meetings that Ridgefield City Finance Director Kirk Johnson is extremely careful and thoughtful about money. Director Johnson, your financial management is another wonderful experience of living in Ridgefield. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anybody else wishing to give public comment in the room tonight? Okay, Miss Diana, is there anybody online?
I do not see anybody.
Okay, with that, we will close public comment and we will move on to our consent agenda to approve our claims and payroll in the minutes from November 13th. Council, I'd entertain a motion for that.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Burkle, seconded by Wells. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, and we will move on. We have a couple of presentations tonight, and I'll start this by saying to our appointees, like, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. You're welcome to stay for part of it. Leave whenever you want. Don't feel like you're going to be interrupted. You know, I know you have families and everything to get home to, but don't, we'll go through the presentations, and after that we can do maybe a short break, but if you want to leave in between, that's totally okay. So, okay, our first presentation tonight is from Mike Burgess. This is our Washington legislative update. And we'll go to Mr. Stewart first and then over to Mike.
Thank you, Mayor and Council of the Community. This, as we do each year, we're coming before the Council to develop our legislative agenda for the upcoming years. This is for the state legislative agenda. In December, we will be talking with our federal lobbyists to develop that federal legislative agenda as well. But tonight, we wanted to go through a little bit of 2025, the successes we had in 2025, a lay of the land for 2026 state legislative session, and then have a discussion with you all about what you would like to see for those priorities that we will be moving forward with. So there'll definitely be some discussion that we'll be doing. I'm going to be handing out the draft agenda to you that we updated a little bit since we had our briefing. So with that, I will introduce Mike Burgess, who is our state lobbyist and has been so for 8 years. we have forgotten exactly how many years, but for 7 or 8 years, he has been our legislative advocate in Olympia and has done great work for us. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Sure.
Okay, that better? All right. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Sorry about that. Yeah, a pleasure to be here. As Steve said, we're going to talk a little bit about, where we were last year, and then, but more to the point, talk about what's happening coming up here in session when we start on the second Monday in January. Steve mentioned looking back at some of the successes we had, and one in particular, you'll remember this has been on the legislative agenda for quite some time, and that was the Ridgefield Pioneer dealing with the slide issue. You were successful in working with your legislative delegation on that project, and we received funding for that. So that's the good news. So that's something that we'll move on from that had been on the agenda. Also, some other items on the agenda that we always have on there. Some things about fiscal sustainability. I think that was key last year too, because last year was a difficult budget session in Olympia. I'll talk a little bit more about what we're looking at coming up. But we were able to hold steady on some of those state functions that might be passed down to you all to take on. So I think that was a bit of good news. That's something we'll have to refocus on this year. And then also within the Public Works Assistance account, unfortunately, that account, as you know, has been under attack, but we've been doing our best to maintain the projects that were already in the pipeline for you. So that's something, again, that we'll look at. But Steve, did you want to add anything else there too? Okay. Looking to next session, just kind of a quick overview of what we're looking at. As I mentioned, we start the second Monday in January. It is a 60-day session, so that's the short session. Generally reserved for smaller policy items and dealing with the supplemental budget. You usually hear things that will be minor tweaks, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. We're approaching session like we did last year with a budget shortfall on the horizon. Despite the efforts that were made last session to deal with the budget, there were tax increases. I'm sure you're reading about a lot of those in the newspaper. Some unintended consequences with some of those tax increases that the legislature is going to have to address, in particular the one that dealt with the sales tax and expanding sales tax to different services, digital media and things like that. There was actually a hearing this afternoon, kind of a work session this afternoon on that bill. The Department of Revenue gave quite a description that they've had probably an unprecedented amount of requests from the public for guidance on that, on implementing that tax bill. So needless to say, that will be on the table, discussing that. But also looking at, again, another shortfall. The governor had a press conference yesterday, and he announced that he will release a budget, which is normal. Governors always release a budget in mid-December. He has said he's going to release one that will be an all-cuts budget, and indicated that some of the tax bills that have been on the table last session that will be alive again this year, or those concepts, that he's not willing to sign those bills, in particular dealing with property tax increase and sales tax increases. So for whatever that's worth, the governor said those words yesterday. So we'll see a budget here in the next few weeks. That's always kind of the start of the way the legislative session goes, looking at what's in that governor's budget and then setting the table for the way things begin once we really start in January, once the legislature's in town. A couple of the other big things that you're going to hear a lot about is affordability. I think you're hearing about that at the national level. That narrative is really picked up steam, and I think you're going to hear it again a lot this year from state legislators, and it'll be a focus on affordability for their constituents. And any number of things fit under that. Healthcare, housing, all those types of things will be on the table, and looking for ways to make things more affordable for Washingtonians. Some of the things, right, wrong, or indifferent, that have gone at the federal level have put a lot of angst, I think, into legislators, particularly on Medicaid, Medicare side, different things like that. They're going to put pressure on the budget. So you're going to see a focus on that. There have been pretty stiff warnings from budget chairs this year already with emails and communications to their own caucus members saying don't ask for money for new programs. As Steve mentioned, that's probably been 8 to 10 years that I've been a part of working with the city. And we've talked about fiscal sustainability. We've talked about unfunded mandates and those types of things. And the reality is, I think I told you at the time that, the budget's been pretty darn good in Washington. It's been growing almost exponentially. And so I wasn't super fearful that those things would be on the table, but I think they might be this year and looking into it. So it's a different time, certainly, that they're dealing with, even from where we were last year. So there'll be some pressure on that. Shifting to this document, this is your agenda that I think you have in front of you. Basically what we did between Steve and I is we basically left it what was on there last year, and then you'll see some notes there where we talk about remove because they're not pertinent anymore, or the issue is taken care of. And of course, but we've always started on your agenda with kind of the capital budget projects that would be priorities for this community. And so we have a list there in talking with Steve of some that have come up, and then I'll punt to Steve to talk in greater detail about those. But it's a supplemental capital budget year too, so you'll notice these requests are smaller than we've requested for in the full biennium. We think those are a smarter tactical way to go and a more reasonable approach, and when a budget's going to be a little bit smaller in the supplemental year. So that's why the dollar amounts are probably smaller than we've talked about in the past.
So when we're talking about a capital budget request, like Mike was saying, usually we'll go with something that is in the $750,000 to $1 million range, because that's usually the highest end that you can reasonably anticipate from the legislature in the capital budget for a single ask. We were actually very successful last year in the slope stabilization project, getting $1.5 million for that, which was above what we would have anticipated and was certainly a testament to the work that you all did and that Mike did to make that happen. This year, we're looking at much less, looking at projects somewhere in the realm of $350,000 to $400,000 as our ask. Now, that doesn't mean that the project has to be $350,000 to $400,000. It simply means that our request is we are targeting that range to be giving us the best chance for success. But that could mean that we do a 50% match or something like that. An easy example of that is for Horns Corner Community Park. In the master plan, there is an accessible playground that has been identified. An accessible playground of the type and size that you see in other areas like Marshall Park down in Vancouver is about $750,000 for the play area itself. So if we had an ask of $375,000 with a match of 50%, that could be one that could fit within that range and was identified by staff as a potential. Other potentials that you've already talked about as priorities, Hayden Park inclusive play structure, again about the same price. Downtown Ridgefield lighting project, which is one we have in the budget. We have phase 1 lighting identified for 70. About 85,000 is identified for phase 1 for the city. So that's something that we could certainly, in the $240,000, $250,000 range, we could identify that and actually potentially get the rest of the project done with it. Also, the skate park has been talked about, moving the skate park. That's a more expensive project. That's, if you were doing the full skate park that was identified in the master plan approved by the council, it's a $1.2, $1.3 million project. This would be about a $650,000 ask. So I'm kind of on the high side of it, but just to give you ideas. And then what we had talked about earlier this week is what else? What other projects have you identified that are either in our budget currently that are not fully funded or have not been able to be funded in our budget that we would like to seek funding for in capital projects ranging from streets to lights to parks to other structures. So with that, I would hand it back to you, Mayor, for a discussion of the capital budget ask.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Council, just on this item for the capital project request, I think we'll start at the far end here with Councilor Hamilton. We'll work our way over, and then we'll just let you go one at a time. If you have something, great. If you don't have anything, that's okay too. But we'll look at you and see if you have anything to recommend. So, Councilor Hamilton.
I like all these projects that have been identified. I have just seen people online talking more about the expansion of Boyce Park, so I didn't know if that was something that would be added, like coverings and seats and things that sort of make it more inclusive and friendly.
Great, okay. Councilor Burkle. I'm good. Okay. Councilor Wells.
Yeah, one thing, we had a briefing, and I don't know what I come up with the concept, but I would like to see our planning on the 11th, 10th Avenue overpass planning moving forward so that we get it up to 90%.
Mayor Pro Tem.
South Ridgefield I-5 access to me is a very big one.
Mr. Stewart, when we're talking
Yes,
about
Mayor.
these, just to clarify, like on our sheet, we have the capital project request, and there's just kind of a list right here, and then we get into some of these infrastructure-related stuff. Are those grouped in with capital project requests, or there's gonna be? Are you
Yeah, I
gonna wanna
mean,
talk about those
capital
separately?
budget requests are a broad
Yeah.
broad topic area. Like last year, we were able to get slope stabilization dollars that because we classified it as slope stabilization and not a streets project, and it came from the capital budget versus the transportation budget, you'll see we have the South I-5 access project, the design funds for that were in the 2025 budget and are in this draft for conversation. That would be a transportation budget request versus capital budget.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so really kind of looking at this top line, he said those are the smaller asks, so the Horns Corner, Hayden Island, downtown Ridgefield lighting. I can come back to you if you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Councilor Favela?
I am in full agreement with the list that we have here, and I don't have any additional items to add, but if you wanted me to prioritize,
Yes,
I
please.
would choose the downtown Ridgefield lighting and the inclusive playgrounds. Those are two very needed things, and I don't think I could choose one over the other.
Okay. And I do appreciate the prioritization because as we winnow this down, by the time we talk to our legislators, I think our goal is going to be to have a single priority ask for
Yeah,
capital budget.
I think one or two is perfectly reasonable, but your delegation is going to tell you they'd like to know which one you want the most.
Yep.
And so,
Great. Councilor Davis?
Yeah, I would echo the sentiments. I feel like it's an appropriate list. I think that they're reasonable asks. I think they both are going to hit on things that are important to a lot of people, which is accessibility and safety. And I think they're almost most importantly realistic, right? If I had to put it down to the top two, I would probably say the downtown Ridgefield lighting, and then if I had to pick between one of the inclusive playgrounds, I'd probably go with Horns Corner since there's technically a playground at Hayden right now, and I know that it really does need to be replaced, but if I had to pick between the two, that's probably what I would do.
Great, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
That rings.
Same thing?
Yeah, same
Okay.
thing, Horns Corner and Ridgefield lighting.
Okay. And from me, I guess just a follow-up question to that too. So are these, do we know if some of these are like, would be coming from different allocated grant funds? Or would this just be like kind of like new money requests coming out of like the capital budget?
so I think, the legislatures can get creative where they want to grab them. But in my experience, these would be what you're referring to as community projects. So
Yeah.
those are the projects that, legislators submit on behalf of the jurisdictions that they represent. So, no, it's not as though we're going right after parks money or something like that, a dedicated pot. However, if the legislature wants to grab those and use it for that, I think we'd be all for that. But I think these would be traditional community projects.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, that's good. Okay. So with that, along with my fellow councilors, the downtown Ridgefield lighting would probably be the top one because we are starting our RISE downtown revitalization initiative this next year, and I think that coincides with that. And as far as conclusive parks, definitely both of them, but I mean, Horns Corner is the one that I feel like is already we have a plan for, and it's one that we've talked about more currently. So that'd be probably the second one. But as long as there's another line there too, I'm curious, and the reason why I asked that of you, Mr. Burgess, is just along the line with our downtown revitalization effort, if there is any sort of funds existing there, or if there's an ask we can make there that would help kind of enhance that project that could come from the state, because I know that there is oftentimes a lot of funds allocated to downtown revitalization. So something along that. It's vague at this point because I don't think we've really kind of gotten that far in the initiative. That's set to begin next year, but looking into that. Any other thoughts, council, on this before we move on to, we'll go to Councilor Burkle and then Councilor
Just a
Davis.
quick question. Would there be a suggestion from you as to which project would be appropriate and one that they might actually look at and approve?
I think, council, that I would recommend the one that you choose is the most important.
Okay,
Good answer.
thank you.
Looking like a true lobbyist.
They're all very reasonable. They're good projects, and I think they fit perfectly in line with what a community project
Yeah.
is at this. And so it's not as though I would say to you, don't ask for that one. That's a bad idea. I think they're all good projects, and it just comes down to which you as a council would prefer.
For sure, thank you. Counselor Davis.
I guess this is just almost more putting it back towards staff. The only question I would have remaining is, are there any projects related to, like city water and water access, or with like stream protection or wetlands or anything like that, things that are demonstrated priorities at the state level that could help sort of move the needle for us. Those are the only other things that I would like to know, if there are some of those, so we could consider those with the rest of the list.
Good point.
Mayor, if I could add to, one thing I would say, when you're prioritizing them, the legislature likes it when you have local skin in the game in a project. So but I think Steve mentioned that most of these had local funding matches anyway, so that checks that box. And then, if there's other community groups and other constituencies that you have that are interested in these, that always helps to make the case for them, so.
And Councilor Davis, to your point about the kind of stream restoration and other kinds of priorities that we might be able to pull in, we can work on that and get additional ideas. Also, we have been successful in attracting grant funds and pre-construction and other funds for the culvert replacement in South Royal Road, which is a stream enhancement project. We have the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund loan that we got for the East Side Reservoir of 15 million. So there are pots of money that kind of when we talk about the Public Works Assistance Account and protecting those funds that we benefit from, even if it's not a direct capital budget request, there are definitely pots of money that we benefit from if there's money in them for the projects that we're doing in those areas that you're speaking to. So we can get a better sense of what those are and add those to kind of the funds that we are supportive of.
Yeah, just even things that we can shine a light on.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You got it.
Great. Anything else, council, on capital projects? Okay, I think we can move on.
Okay. So the next item there was the Ridgefield Pioneer. By when we talked about that, it would be our suggestion to remove that project from the agenda, but we left it there for a reference point. Next, council member already brought up the South Ridgefield I-5 access. That's been on your agenda for a long time. Unfortunately, we haven't been successful, but I think we should keep at it. I know how important it is to the community. And I'd really like to see it happen in the near future, especially for you, Councilor Wells. This is his topic when we come to Olympia. The school district election issue, that's been dealt with a bit by the legislature. That was something that was important to the council last year. That's the second to the top item on the second page there. I would think you'd remove that one, just given that there's been some legislative action in that area. Not the total solution that we had talked about, but anyway, just throwing it out for your discussion.
Can you remind us what the legislature did on that last year?
So they didn't pass. I'd have to go back and look at the exact. It wasn't, our request was on the bond side, and they did not deal with the bond issue yet.
Right.
Right. But there's been a lot of discussion around that issue. So when I said there's a solution, that was probably, I shouldn't have said it that way. But it's certainly an issue that's been addressed and talked about a lot, and it just hasn't passed to this point. Certainly, if the council wants to leave that on, that's your purview. But
I would say for that one, it feels like it's kind of a dead end just to keep kind of hammering away at the lowering the percentage down to 55%, because especially in our own delegation, we don't have support for that. Right. But I guess what I would implore maybe our delegation to do is to come up with some creative solutions around it that gets a little closer to a solution, because what we're seeing even statewide is it's really hard to pass school bonds for construction. And as you all know, we got one done through the school district was incredibly creative in what they got done. But the work's not finished, and there's going to be new schools that need to build, and we're going to continue to grow. We're talking about growth, and so some sort of mechanism. I don't have anything specific about that, but I'd like to maybe keep it as a policy item, since we're not asking, because it's not a funding related thing necessarily. So. Councilor Davis, we'll go the other way this time and start with Councilor Davis and work our way down.
Thanks, and I guess a point of clarification. Right now, levy threshold is 50 and bonds are 60, so I'm assuming we're talking bonds on this.
Yes.
Right, okay. So, I guess, I would question as to whether that is going to be the fix that is pursued anymore. This might be an outdated solution. But I do agree that it is important for us to, within our realm, be advocates for being able to allow our school district partners to build the facilities that they feel they need and to figure that out. And so I guess more on a personal level, I feel like there's a bigger zoom out solution that needs to occur. It shouldn't, so much of the burden should not just be on the backs of these local school districts to raise that kind of money and have that high of a threshold. And I do think that it's in our purview because it's an important part of our community, right? And so I think it's important for us to keep it on ours. I just don't know if we can, especially this time through, accurately advocate for a specific solution. Instead, just keep it like what the mayor said of, hey, we support, there needs to be an overhaul of how this happens. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Great.
thanks.
I think we need to keep our finger on the pulse with this one to make sure it doesn't just completely drop off of our radar. But yes, I am in favor of kind of just seeing where we're at and following.
Yeah. Same thing from Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, good. Councilor Wells?
Yes.
Good. Councilor Burkle? Good.
Same for me.
Okay.
I think it's really important. I think schools are a huge fundamental piece of our community, and I agree the zoom out needs to happen, but I do think I want to make sure that we keep this on our radar.
I do too. And I'd add a caveat too that I would hope that the school district would partner with us in that effort. So if we're going to be advocating for it, I hope that they would be doing that too, because I think it's necessary, because after all, it's their district and the schools that need to build, but we recognize that we're trying to manage the growth. In addition to that, so South I-5 access is on here. We're going to remove SR 501 because we did get 1.5 million for that for the slope stabilization, but South I-5 access, council, are we good with leaving that on here for right now?
Yes.
Okay, everyone says yes. I know that's been a priority. Okay. Got what you need there?
Perfect. For those, yes. Now,
Okay.
on to the next, as far as
Yep.
the general legislative request, and I'll take the first one on this, and that is the Regional Criminal Justice Training Center. There was work last year that was led by cities and law enforcement agencies throughout the region to get funds for a feasibility study associated with a Regional Criminal Justice Training Center. Those funds were not allocated by the legislature, but there will certainly be efforts again to bring that forward. The property owners in Ridgefield that they were talking with, that the regional authorities were talking with about the site for a regional criminal justice training center are still open to the conversation, but they want to see progress. So this is something that was on your legislative agenda last year to promote that regional criminal justice training center in Ridgefield and that feasibility study dollars for it, but we wanted to come back to you and see if that's something you wanted to place back on your agenda again for 2026.
Okay, great. On this one, or do you want to go through all of them, or do you want input on that one at a time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Council, I'll just look around and see if anybody has anything that they want to include on that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The only thing I was going to say, it's very essential for Southwest Washington, and we have the place for it and the need. And if we had any trainees going to it, they wouldn't have to pay for lodging and everything else. And it's much needed down here.
Definitely. Definitely.
I think I'd add to that too. In the past, we haven't really put that at the forefront of our agenda because we've had other higher priority things, and we didn't want to have, say, hey, this included when we, like Mike was saying, you have to prioritize and what you would get. Given that there's a lot of budget constraints going into this year, and I think the momentum is right now. The current temporary site just won, the Southwest Washington Criminal Justice Training Center just won an award for excellence this year, and their first year and full year in operation, which is pretty remarkable that they're doing so well. And so I think that there could be potentially some notoriety at the state level for what we're doing down here. And there's also support for, just throughout Southwest Washington to relocate it permanently in Ridgefield, which I think we're supportive of. I think that it could be a huge economic development driver for us. It would bring people here. It'd be good for our sales tax revenue base. And also, it's in our backyard. And I think that I don't want to necessarily rely on other jurisdictions to carry the water for us. I think that we are capable of doing that ourselves. And so I would like to maybe take up more of a prominent role in that in this coming year and really start advocating for that. So, any other comments on that one, council? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The next item on there is the Clark County Transportation Alliance. So we've always had this on. It's just the updated version, and I think the list there's on the back page in your project, the South Ridgefield, I think it was letter O. So anyway, it references your project, I believe. What's that? Two of them. Oh, there's two of them there, excuse me. So just again, a placeholder for something that you've always supported. I guess, Mayor, I'd throw it to you for comments about that.
Yeah, so these are already ones that I think one of them we touched on, which is South I-5 access, and the other one is, what's the other one again, remind me?
South Royal Road.
South Royal Road, yes. So both of those definitely high priorities for us. Looking around, everyone's kind of giving the thumbs up on that. Yep. Okay.
Okay. The next item, fiscal sustainability and flexibility. I already talked about that a bit with the state's budget situation and the worry that somehow state duties will be passed down to you. The reality is, Steve and I actually talked about this a bit, and you've been a very successful city. Financially, you've done a really good job, and so, I don't know that how big of a threat this is, but I think it'd be a mistake to take something like this off your list. I think you always want to send that signal to legislators and keep this front of mind for them when we're discussing the legislative agenda, whether that be before session or when you do come to Olympia. So I think it's always a good item to have there.
Okay. Yeah, I agree, and I think.
One thing we don't want them to do is rate it like they did before and almost deplete all the funds that were in it. So we need to keep their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you're referencing the Public Works Trust Fund, the next one on the list. And yeah, same thing. Placeholder there for a program that you've been pretty successful in accessing over the years. So again, placeholder language there. And I think we remind those legislators how important it is.
Yep, I think we're 7 thumbs up on that one, on both of those, for sure.
Yep.
Essential, okay.
And then the last item there, and I think it's the second or third page of your agenda, is AWC's legislative priorities. We've always referenced theirs on your list. Looking at these, they mentioned the shared revenues there, transportation, of course, that's broadly infrastructure, especially on the maintenance side. Housing supply, and then indigent defense is a really big issue right now. Maybe not as much for a smaller city like Ridgefield, but some of the larger jurisdictions, probably Vancouver, and as much as that trickles down, the way it affects the region. We think those are all good priorities, and just wanted to get them in front of you.
Absolutely. Any comments on that, council? Okay.
I have
Good.
one.
Go ahead, Councilor Favela.
Yeah, the AWC also supports or is in favor of mental health and behavioral health, and I want to make sure that we keep that on the radar
Sure.
as well. Thank you.
Very good.
Anybody else? Okay. Okay.
And Mayor and Councilor Favela just brought up one thing that we did want to bring up, which is that when you're in a short session and there's no money, a lot of times if there's no money, you get words, meaning policy bills that come forward. Association of Washington Cities certainly is kind of the umbrella organization that carries the water for a lot of those policy priorities, like Councilor Favela mentioned. I actually spoke with Carl Schrader, who's one of the lobbyists for AWC earlier today, about a couple of questions of, for example, are they going to be running legislation to put a moratorium on any additional responsibilities or mandates to local governments on affordable housing as we catch up with everything they've already adopted? And they said, yes, they actually have draft legislation that they're bringing forward with that. So that's something that we can be supportive of, but not have to be our our thing that we're going to run ourselves. Also, there was conversation about studying the impacts of rulemaking at the state level and the impacts to affordability. It's a bill that Mike was talking about that is run almost every year.
Different machinations of that bill have been run all the time. Impact to state rules, impact to state laws, all those types of things, fiscal estimates on, what it would cost private business. Those types of things are always out there. But I think what Steve's talking about is a little bit different, but that kind of same theme, there's one introduced every year.
And that's something that with AWC, they say they would be interested in and actually interested in working that bill, especially because of kind of the angle of affordability and how the state has really been pressing affordability and the impacts of local rulemaking on housing affordability, but really haven't been addressing the impacts of affordability of state rulemaking of the agencies that they have at that level. So this is.
Yeah, we don't, so those aren't bills yet. They'll likely be bills, and there's going to be others that get introduced. So when you do come to a visit, or we're doing other, we might call upon you to do some direct advocacy to legislators, we'll have bill numbers and things like that. You'll remember last year when you came, we had a list of, bills. One of them, I think there was the one dealing with the parking issue that we talked with legislators about. So those types of things will pop up too. But I think Steve's just kind of presenting some of the ideas that are out there.
That and to see if there are any other policy priorities or policy bills that you are interested in that you want us to be looking for to see if AWC is moving with those, or if there are other organizations that we might be able to piggyback on the work that they're doing.
Yeah, you touched on two of that I was going to bring up as well, just the local control. I know that there's an on-street parking issue that went through, and unfortunately it died last year, but making sure that we retain local control for how we plan our communities. I think that's essential. We talked about that earlier today at the BIA luncheon, where we said, it's really essential that we get to adopt our vision and we don't have outside entities really influencing that, because that makes it harder for us to enact the vision that we have for a community and really build the kind of affordable housing we need. But the unintended consequences one, that's a really interesting one. I'm intrigued by that. I'd definitely be supportive of that. Councilor Davis.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I would like to tap into our experience so far with our, Envision Ridgefield process. And when you look at, how do we define collaboration with the county, right? We still have a ways to go with that, but I think that is a worthy question to ask, and ideally, it would be something I would hope that the county would be interested in answering as well. But I would like to see maybe some realistic either clarifications or just even putting it out there based on our experience with our plan update.
And again, efficiencies like that, I think, will have a potential in this legislature because, again, without money, they're looking for how can they be more efficient in the use of the existing resources. So,
Very good.
Great. Councilor Burkle, did you have something? Oh, you didn't? Okay. Anybody else? Councilor Favela?
So I don't have one to advocate for, but I have one that I'm concerned about that is in the House right now up for consideration, and it's Senate Bill 5578 regarding concerning labor standards. This bill would change minimum wage January to $17.50 an hour and then increase it slowly to $25 an hour. And while for families, great, this provides more income, the unintended consequence of that, of small businesses having to carry that amount of minimum wage across the state with insurance rising, all the costs are rising, and then while we're trying to work with affordable housing, this just sounds like it's just going to keep raising the ceiling instead of doing anything beneficial. So I would like to keep our eye on that to see what on the back end is going to happen if this bill passes.
You make a good point, because you're referencing a bill that was introduced last year, and I should have said to you all, and I think most of you know this by now, that any bill that was introduced last year that didn't pass, it's alive again this year. Mm-hmm. So everything's still in play, and we can expect, there was about 2,000-ish bills introduced last session. I might bet you there'll be at least another 1,000 that pop up, or 800. So.
Okay. Other thoughts or comments at this point? Question? Or council?
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
I would just be interested in what your opinion is regarding the state moving toward a state income tax.
I think that there will definitely be discussion about it. The Senate Majority Leader already has said that he has an interest in looking at, and it's usually focused on high wage earners. I think that's been the rhetoric for those that have dropped those bills. Targeting large corporations, targeting high wage earners that work for those corporations conceivably. There's also talk of, you might have heard of it, called the head tax. There's those types of issues are out there. I think that there's definitely a group of legislators that want to move towards an income tax, but there's some constitutional issues. So it might have to be done at the ballot box, but I think there's a will by enough now to push for that. But that's been in discussions for 3 or 4 years in earnest, and it hasn't happened yet. But I think that the pressure continues to build on that. The majority party, that's something that, again, the rhetoric has been that there's an interest in doing that. I can't say whether or not it's going to happen, but I think it'll be discussed, and it could end up as a ballot measure in the fall.
Thank you.
Great. Councilor Davis.
I guess just to follow up on that, it seems like that would violate the governor's statement, though, about an all cuts budget. I mean, he was pretty strong in saying he's not going to approve revenue increases, so. I mean, things can always change, but it was a pretty bold statement right out the gate, so I'd be curious if that had a
60
long
days is a long 60 days.
That's right.
Okay, council, any other comments or questions for staff or Mike Burgess on this one? Okay. Anything else for us on this?
Anything else for you? No.
Are we good?
So I think we have what we need. We will work to finalize the legislative agenda based on the input that we received. We are working to schedule meetings with our legislative delegation so that our city council can advocate for the city's priorities with our legislative delegation prior to the session starting, which starts on
The second Monday in January, is it the 12th this year? It's late this year.
It
I think it's
is the 12th, yes.
Yeah.
January 12th is when it will start. And then obviously there will be times when council will be going up there as well and working with Mr. Burgess. But I think we have what we need for this evening.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks
you
for
all.
coming all this way
Sure.
for that.
For
It's
sure.
good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, that concludes our presentation. On our legislative priorities. We have a second presentation tonight. This is an update from our friends at the Ridgefield Art Association. Do we just want to go straight to Mary Lee? Yeah, okay, Mary Lee, over to you. And I'll just say that we have about 10 minutes for this one, but I know that you were locked and loaded. Yeah.
I'll talk fast. You're
Yeah.
a good example of talking fast. So, Mr. Mayor, council, city, fellow citizens, welcome guests. My name is Marilee Aisley. I'm here on behalf of the Ridgefield Art Association. I think you're going to love what you're going to hear tonight because we are going to help you revitalize downtown. Yes. This all started when a few months ago, Carrie Rylander, who's taking over the historic hardware store, she reached out to the Ridgefield Art Association and said, this is a really big space. Would you like to rent some of it from us for an art gallery? Oh my gosh, the artists are like, whoa! So the Ridgefield Art Association board put together a committee, and we were tasked to do our due diligence on this subject. So there's 5 of us on this committee. And obviously the first thing is there enough interest with the artists? Well, that was a no-brainer. Did you know we actually have some artists in this town that are professional artists? How many people knew that, right? Anyway, so then we always had to look at, well, where have art galleries failed? Where have they succeeded? Why? And then, of course, you have to look at things like insurance and read the leases and all that kinds of stuff. But what I think you're going to find really exciting is in the research, there's an organization, it's a national organization called Main Street, and it was created to help revitalize downtowns, to help communities revitalize downtowns. They did a survey and they asked people, what activities would you like to see in your downtown? Number 1, an art gallery. All right. So then if you dig a little deeper, art galleries are very good for the local economy. We have classes, we bring in people, we bring in tourists, we buddy up with other organizations, and so we also bring in tax dollars. We add activities for everybody to do. We have monthly Meet the Artists events where you come, have a glass of wine, have a good time. So it's a very worthwhile endeavor, and it creates a sense of community. We'll now have a heart. Ridgefield's going to have a heart. It's going to have the overlook park. It's going to have all these beautiful lights. It's going to have an art gallery. It gives us a heart where people can identify with it. And you know what happens? This is what studies show. Businesses come. And what follows businesses? Developers. So Steve Stewart, this is for you. We want to help you. When the city's out there looking for developers that share our vision of our wonderful town, you can just bring them on in and we'll sell them, okay? So anyway, we took all this information back to the Art Association board, presented our findings. And hot off the press, they voted yes. And just a few nights ago, our president, Maureen O'Reilly, signed the lease. So, oh my gosh, folks, you are going to have a downtown Ridgefield Art Gallery. So, grab your calendars. We're starting 2026 off right. The first Saturday in January, 5 to 7 p.m., come to your Ridgefield Art Gallery. Meet the artists. See what we're doing. You're going to love it, and we're going to love it, and we're going to love being here with you. It's also exciting. But I'm sure you've all heard the expression, operation expenses. So we are a nonprofit, but every month we have to pay rent. Our insurance premium really increased because now we have bigger exposure. So just think about running a business. It's expensive. And so we have those expenses. But our board's very wise. And one of the persons they put on the board, one of our artists, is a woman who has served this community for over a quarter of a century. A woman who helped breathe life into the fact we actually have a new library. And she's here tonight to help you know how you can help us. So with that, I'd like to introduce our one and only Kathy Winters.
I can't top that. So I'm here to ask for money, I guess. I'm calling it 90 for 90. If you've been here 10 years, you remember my 80 for 80 plan to raise money for the library. We're not going to raise 90,000. It's going to be 9,000. We left off one of the zeros, which makes it a lot easier. This Art Association is sponsoring us, so we're under their 501c3. So the money you donate will be tax deductible, which is a nice hit. Also, for everybody that donates more than $1,000, I'll paint a small watercolor painting, like 11 by 14, of a photo of your choice, something that you send me, and I'll paint it, and it'll be matted and ready to frame. What else?
Yeah, card.
The card?
Yeah, the hand cards, if it was less than.
Oh, you mean painting?
But one thing that we need to make sure you guys know, when you come to your Ridgefield Art Gallery and you purchase something, whether it's a card or it's an original masterpiece, you are going to get a piece of art that was created by a Ridgefield Art Association member, not in China or anywhere else, a member of your community. So you're not only going to support local, you're going to support your local arts. You're all needed.
Good. Talking about cards, I'll be at the Collective this Saturday from 11 to 2, painting Christmas cards, and I'll have a few of my other cards. I've been working hard to get some done, but I'll hope to see you there. See you downtown. Don't forget, it's hometown weekend.
Yeah.
Lots going on in town.
There it is.
Thank you.
Don't forget, January, first Saturday, 5 to 7.
Wonderful. I love it. Highly efficient. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, and it's good to hear the vision. And I say it all the time that the Art Association has a special place in my heart. I just love everything you guys do, and you're a bright spot in our community. So thank you for your contributions. And I know that the gallery has been a long time coming. That's been a long time vision for the association. So yeah, it's good to see that finally being realized.
The lights you're gonna put up down there are just gonna make it rock.
It will. I can't wait. Yes. Okay, great.
And I won't have to bring my flashlight to watch.
No, we will. Thank you both for coming out. Thank you for your advocacy. And yes, well, we'll be talking more. Thank you.
Chickadee Bazaar.
And the Chickadee Bazaar this weekend. Yes, that's true.
Right here in this room.
Okay, thank you. That was less than 10 minutes. Fantastic. Yeah. We have one more presentation tonight. This is has to do with the table you see in front of you with all of the textiles here. But I'm going to turn over to Steve, Mr. Stewart, he's going to give us an update on the Recreation and Community Center update.
Good evening, Mayor, Council and Community. It is time for another update on the Community and Recreation Center. A lot of great progress has been occurring behind the scenes as we prepare for next year's groundbreaking for the Community and Recreation Center. We wanted to do a few things this evening with Council. The first thing is that we are working to finalize the design of the facility, both inside and outside. You, Council, have already seen a virtual walkthrough of the facility, had some great comments and feedback that we wanted to integrate into the final design so that we can get that ready for display and for use with the public and donors. So we want to do that first. So what I had told you I'm lovingly referring to as our design workshop will be first, and that will be Stephen and Alyssa from EDA will guide us on that. From that, we will then get an update on the timeline, where we are in the progress for the project, and we have Durgesh Patel, our project manager, who will give you that update. And then last but certainly not least, we will be talking about next steps, including the kickoff for our capital campaign, and Mr. Crownhart, our parks manager, will guide us through that. So with that, I will turn it over to Stephen and Alyssa, who will guide us through the design workshop. Thank you for coming this evening, you two.
Yeah, I will. So as Steve said, my name is Stephen Black. I'm a principal at Ada Architects, and I'm overseeing the design and engineering of the Community Center and Recreation Center. This is Alyssa Dressler. She's She's an interior designer with Ada Architects, so she's also been helping with the interiors on the project. So we're gonna go through some slides that show you some of the renderings that we've done for the facility, that show the materials and colors that we're gonna be utilizing from the exterior, and then we're gonna move into the interior. We have physical samples of all those materials so that you can take a look at them in real life, because sometimes the renderings don't quite show the true color or nature of the materials. And as we go through as well, we have some items that we want to get your feedback on. And so we'll point those out. We'll ask you to give us your feedback if you have any, and we'll use those to kind of help make decisions moving forward to finalize everything.
And Stephen, forgive my interruption. The table before you obviously has a lot of those samples. We were going to kind of pass them around. It's a little bit cumbersome to pass them around, so we moved that table closer to the dais so that from the dais you can still see them. If you do want to interact with them, we can bring them up to you.
Yeah.
So.
If you can go to the next slide. So we're going to start on the exterior. So one of the directions we were given at the beginning of the project was to make sure that everything we do and all the materials we select, that they're durable and classic kind of materials and colors that will withstand the test of time. So we don't want to use really trendy colors or materials that will age the building as it goes through. So we kind of had that as our starting point on the exterior and interiors. So you'll see here in this rendering that there's a lot of use of a lot of brick. We have horizontal wood siding, and we have a metal panel system that in this rendering you see here is black. And those are pretty traditional colors of those materials, and they will age well. You know, those colors, they're natural colors, so they tend to not go out of style. The materials are very durable. They're easy to maintain, so as the facility ages, it won't become cumbersome for the city to maintain those. If you want to go to the next slide, please. This is a different view. You get a different idea of the metal panel. So in addition to color, we also take into consideration the texture. So we're using the different, the rough texture of the brick with the smooth texture of the metal panel. We also take into account the direction of the materials. So you see that the brick and wood is all horizontal. We introduced the vertical metal to kind of break that up to help contrast it and break up the facade of the building. The brick is a combination of 3 colors in this scheme here, which is ruby and vintage and sienna, kind of those browns and red types of colors. And again, the metal is black. And the wood is a natural tone, which is kind of a brownish, reddish wood stain that we have a sample of. You can go to the next slide, please. Around, oh, sorry.
I'm very visual.
They're up here on the top here.
the palette over here.
Thanks,
See,
Steve.
this is why we left it on the table.
He just
So we did, one of the things we would like your feedback on is on what would be the west side of the building. We did have some green, we did introduce some green metal panels, just to kind of, again, help add a little bit of color. And the green sample is kind of, is over there on, there's a black sample and a green sample. I would tell you the green came out a lot brighter in the rendering than it is in the physical sample, but we would like any feedback you have on the green, whether you prefer that or just going to the black or a different color.
This would be the actual green?
Yes, sir.
As opposed to the very bright?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty subtle.
It will change color in the sun, it will, as the sun hits it, depending on how bright the sun is, it can get kind of bright a little bit, but it is a pretty muted color.
And at each one of these points, these are points where the project team has kind of put together, this is where it's at, and then has options for it, and this is for each one of those that you've already identified, kind of questions, concerns, comments on. This is where we definitely are looking for that feedback to finalize.
Councilor Davis.
Is this an open thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I don't mind the green. I think it's got more of a grayish tint to it. But when I think about like colors that sort of symbolize our community, my eye directly goes to the blue in the middle. And I don't know, like we just use a lot of blue, and maybe it's too much and we need to shake it up a little bit, but that's that palette or that swatch right there actually, no, the much larger one. Oh, it's the same thing? Same thing, okay. To me, that seems to be more representative of a Ridgefield community center.
This.
That's what I got.
One of my favorite colors, yeah.
That kind of matches our brand palette. Okay. I'd be curious to know, like, what's our other options? I mean, there's blue here and there's green, but like did you mention kind of a black or a gray? I wonder if that would also complement it well too.
Yeah, so we are using the black around. We do have some other grays here.
Mm-hmm. This is black.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I like it the way it is.
So those are grays and some other greens as well?
No.
These are like metallic. Okay.
So those are just, what those are, those is the standard colors from the manufacturer line. So you can tell there's pretty limited selection in color there.
Yeah.
So my thought looking at this, I don't love the green on the picture, but we've established that's not what's happening. I think I actually like it together when you look at it all here. the blue I like when I look at it, but when I put them together, it feels a little bit dark. If anyone wants to look at this all together, I think the green does kind of brighten it up, which is a surprising choice for me, but I think that that actually looks pretty cohesive, in my opinion.
I have something.
Go ahead, Councilor Favela.
I'm moving ahead, but if we were to go with that kind of green, then if we chose a green accent color, they need to match. Be the same type of green, so it
Sure.
flows from the inside out, and then you don't have like some random, why do you have that green different from the outside?
Great feedback, thanks.
Okay.
Councilor Burkle.
I absolutely love the rendering I'm looking at on the screen right now. I like everything about it. I think it represents Ridgefield the way I would want it to represent the city. I think it's absolutely perfect.
Thank you.
I have got the same comment. The other renderings that you had here the last time, I wasn't impressed with them. I'm not an architect or a color coordinator, my wife is, but I'm sure she would love it, and if she loves it, I got to.
It's a good man.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thanks for that feedback, appreciate it. You want to go to the next slide? So one of the other things that we're looking at is kind of trying to make the windows on the community center side of the building be more of a modern feel to match the windows that you see over there on the gym side. So what you're seeing here in this image is we have that horizontal mullion kind of in the upper part of the window. If you go to the next slide, we take that mullion out as a way to try to make it seem a little more modern design for the window system. So we would like feedback on what you feel about that. Yeah, can you, yeah, there you go. It's a subtle change. And you can go, there's a different view if you go down one more slide. It'll switch to this side and then go one more, you'll see the windows change here too.
Wow.
So,
Designers, council?
Yes. Does this change the cost?
no,
Okay, great. I like it without the lines. I had the lines in my windows and I had them come and take them out. I don't like them. It looks outdated. I like it seamless. It's pretty.
Well, she said without the lines, but I go with the lines. Be the contrarian, but I really do like it better with the lines. Anybody else?
The comment I got, I wished we had a before and after. The before is what we saw before, and this after, and it's quite an improvement.
Yeah.
For that.
Absolutely.
Really,
It's
really
beautiful.
a great improvement.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I-
appreciate it.
For myself, I think I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's spot on for what I would want to see in Ridgefield. Well done.
Thank you.
So in council, just to kind of like orient you on this decision point, this was one where in conversations with council, there was a concern that there was, that the windows, the more modern looking windows around the gym didn't match the more traditional window panes with the framing, the internal framing that was on the community center side. Thus, this idea to take those frames out. This is a couple of ideas of how to take them out. The one that you saw before had a more traditional internal framing that was more like, almost like what you would see in a craftsman style home. This definitely gives you two more modern options to it. One of them completely taking the internal frames out, and one of them keeping a little bit of internal frame. But that's why that was brought, is there was this inconsistency between the windows, and that framing was something that you had pointed to.
Would you go back and forth between the views again, please?
It just looks so dark with the frame.
Other opinions? Go ahead.
I would just echo the comment that Mayor Pro Tem made that, or maybe it was Councilor Favela, that without the lines, at least when we toggle back and forth, it kind of brightens it up. It's not as cluttered. So,
Yeah.
you know, before that, I was gonna say I did not hold a strong opinion one way or another, but with that being pointed out, I mean, I'm just saying, this is not my world, so, right? Okay.
I'm gonna come around too. I agree. Like the more I'm looking at this, I kind of think it looks so.
I usually am right. Thank you.
It definitely is brighter. The only thing is on the, what was those windows called that, I forget what Councilor Wells made a funny comment about those windows when we originally saw them. Funky windows? The funky windows have framing on them. So do we want to have some
That's why we wanted
difference?
them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Did you get what you need there?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. That's great.
I'm not sure what we decided.
I don't either.
We're just looking for
I
feedback,
think
that's
we're-
all we need.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go ahead and go to the next slide. I'm gonna transition over to Alyssa and let Alyssa take you through the inside of the building. Thanks.
Hello. Maybe. I'll just.
Oh no.
If you raise it up high, it'll just, yep, perfect. Yep, and it'll drop down to where you want it. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this first slide is the entry to the community center. So in this, I just wanted you to know that the main goal with this was to bring outside in. That's what the colors are. And then all the renderings are going to be of this first palette right here. Just so you're aware, none of the renderings are of these two on the end.
So you only have renderings of this one?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. And so it might be hard to tell in the rendering. Do you mind pulling out, Stephen, the LVT, the gray one? Because I want you to see it has a little bit of a pattern to it, so it's not just a concrete flooring LVT.
Oh, yeah.
It adds a little bit more zest to the space, which I think is important, especially as you're coming into the space, you want a little something. And then the back wall is that pop of blue, just to kind of bring people into the space that they're gonna be in. Next slide, please. And then this rendering, again, brings that blue in, and then we have this one will have carpet, the next one will have LVT, but this has the green and blue kind of throughout. So this is a green and blue scheme with a majority of the accent with blue. That's why you don't see a ton of green here besides in the carpet.
Is that the carpet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, wait, I don't like that. That's not it.
It feels like those will be easy to not look dirty also.
Yeah, so that's the idea. They have a lot of variation in there, and so it'll kind of hide that.
Gents.
Use your microphone, please.
I think this carpet looks better than the green and the blue lines. This one feels like it would flow better because when you have a huge mural on the wall, there's a lot going on the wall. You don't want the floor to be busy too, so it needs to have some balance in the room, and I think this color palette carpet would be better than the
Yeah, I
stripe.
actually do like this one.
We got the artists here.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
And I think with that, will you go to the next slide, please? So with that, we want your opinion on the flooring. I think there's been some question on cleanability. So we also provided a wood look LVT in here if you preferred that over carpet.
I do like this better.
Yeah.
So this is in the lounge area. So it could be carpet to help with noise, or it can be LVT to help with main carpet.
Do you have a rendering of the lounge area, or is that
Yeah.
what we're looking at? No.
It's on the next side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So this is the carpet, and then the next one is the LVT.
I like that so much better. Sorry. I like this a lot better, and when you think about a community, this is the entrance, correct, coming in?
Correct.
it rains a lot, there's kids in muddy shoes, and I think that it would really put a lot of wear on the carpet, whereas if we had something that was easier to clean, and probably last a little bit longer, I would probably choose that option.
I think the thing to note as well is the difference between the two. The carpet will help with like footing acoustics,
The acoustics.
whereas the LVT you'll be able to hear more.
That was what I was gonna say. Is
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
I like the look of the LVT, but I would be concerned with the layout and having, people coming in and the sound just carrying that much more. So I'm a little more inclined to go with carpet for that space.
And we do have a walk-on mat as you come in the door.
Okay.
So it
I see this.
still won't get perfect to paint the door.
Yeah, I think the sound is gonna be an issue. I think the cleaning makes more sense, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I have a fiance that works in the flooring industry that I've heard enough complaints of people and the loudness, like people are changing out their bedrooms because they can hear their husband walking at night. And if we amplify that by X amount of people, I think it could get pretty loud in there.
And the carpet we're using is carpet tile, so you could replace just sections of it as well instead of replacing the whole
That
room.
makes sense, yeah.
And before we leave that conversation about the carpet, then if you're leaning, I feel there's a lean on this, but there was conversation about which carpet. And
What do you guys think?
I'd love to get to some.
I definitely like this one best.
This is the one that I prefer personally over the striped carpet.
I agree with Councilor Favela on
I
that.
like the blue.
You like the blue?
Yeah,
This one.
yeah, matching with all,
Yeah.
paint.
Clyde?
Now, we got several artists in the room.
I know, they're just up there watching all these policymakers trying to be artists here.
Yeah, I watch them.
I'm more a fan of the stripes, but that's just me.
I like the stripe pattern, but I do like that there's a little bit of like the orange, it kind of built like in there. It's kind of, it's not too over the top, but it's kind of clever.
Yeah.
But I do like the pattern of this one, but it's just, I think I'd probably go with that one.
Yeah, I think the second one's a little bit more neutral. And like Councilor Favela said, like I think it could get a little bit busy if we have the first one.
Yeah.
Does the rendering that we're looking at look busy?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good at that one.
So the consensus is carpet, correct?
Yeah, for sure
Okay.
carpet, and I think we're
Perfect.
just picking which carpet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then the next slide is similar topic, or same topic, but different room.
Steve, can we ask the audience? Can we ask the audience?
So this is the multi-purpose room leading to the kitchen. So there was some concern about cleanability for this area and whether you want just LVT for this section and carpet for the other two multi-purpose sections, or if you want them all to be the same. So this one shows the carpet and the next one will show the LVT. And this one also shows the correct doors. So they fold out onto the wall, so you keep that entire opening. So that's also what I wanted to point out here.
Good.
Don't pay attention to the blue. It's not that bright, I promise.
Oh, this is actually really good because I was concerned about the doors previously, like blocking view if you're doing a teaching class. So I'm glad that
Yes.
the doors have changed, and I do prefer the this flooring. Yes, this. I also think of if someone wants to use that room for a party or a baby shower, having a neutral environment can go with all the decorations, so you don't have like a lot of clashing happening. And if you're doing cooking in there, people are spilling. I like this. This is really pretty.
Yeah, I like that too.
Agreed.
This one right here, all of that.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then the sparkly floor you liked is in the kitchen.
Oh.
So,
yes.
and it has the slip resistance, so that's why it has that
Show the
sparkle.
audience the
Yeah.
Oh, she's perfect. Look at this. Oh, right? Thank you.
What is that for now?
This would be the floor in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. Clyde says
And it
no.
has a slip resistance, that's why it's sparkly, so it,
I like it.
I hate that I like this. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
And then on the next slide, it just shows the other two sides of the multipurpose spaces. So we just wanted to get clarification on, do you want these areas to be carpet since they're away from the kitchen, or would you like them to be seamless all the way through?
What are these areas?
I wish I could see a transition if we pick, like, because if we pick that in one room, I mean, it seems in my mind that would look best to complete throughout. But I wish we could see a transition of one versus the other.
And just as a reminder, there are 3 separate spaces. And so the transition would likely be along one of those partition walls, right? So you'd have a partition wall, one of the spaces would have that LVT, and that would be the one next to the kitchen. And then there'd be a partition wall, and then the other 2 could be that carpet, or it could just be LVT throughout.
But the partition moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
the partitions roll back into the wall. You can see how they kind of go funnel back
Yeah,
into
so I'm
it.
saying if that's open, I want that to look cohesive.
Right, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it if it's being used as all one space, but I also then go back to concerns about acoustics. If it's sliced up into 3 different spaces with 3 different groups, is it gonna get kind of too loud?
So acoustics is a good conversation, so I want to talk a little bit about that because it leads into kind of the next thing as well. So in a situation in a room like this where carpet is not going to help that much with sound, because carpet really only helps with footfall, because there's going to be a lot of tables and people in here that would deflect your voice or any audio that's in the room. So most of the acoustic control is actually happening up above you in the ceilings. So the only way you would have a negative acoustic impact from the floor is if like you had a dance in there and people are walking around and stomping around in high heels or whatever. But in that case, you're gonna want a harder floor anyway, right? So
You can worm better on hard floor than you can on carpet. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
I won't tell you how I know that, but
We like a footloose
yeah.
moment.
Opinions, council?
I am in favor of the seamless, just all cohesion all throughout. It's really pretty.
Cohesion of carpet or LVT?
Oh, not the carpet, no.
LVT.
Okay.
The other one.
The LVP.
Is it LVT or LVP? What are we saying? T.
T?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I agree with the cohesion. If we're gonna choose that in one room, I think it makes sense to put it in everything.
I think the assumption is that for durability, that like the LVT is more durable, but is that actually the case?
Yeah, it will hold up a lot better. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot easier to clean. But again, you know, the carpet tile, it's just like, this
Yeah.
is carpet tile right in here. And,
Okay.
you know, just kind of depends on how often it gets used and what it gets done in there.
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay.
Is this durable enough that if there's wheelchairs in the room, you know how some floors, the wheelchair will leave a divot in the floor? Would that happen with this, or do we?
No, no. Either one of these would do good on like a wheelchair. Now, if you ran like a forklift with 4 pallets stacked on top of it, and then yeah, you would probably do a little damage. But just normal wear and tear, it wouldn't be an issue.
Motor scooters, all of that is.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Perfect. Listen.
Yeah. And I know you said that I know we're talking about carpet, but I'm just curious on the blue. You said the blue here in these renderings is way lighter, brighter, but it's really that
The one right next to you, yes.
Yeah, okay, just making sure.
Yep, it's just the lighting is like,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Can we what? We'll get, yeah, let's let them lead us and then we'll enter there.
So the acoustics conversation kind of brings us into how we want the ceilings in these spaces. So if you go to the next slide.
No, thank you.
So this is the lower ceiling, so it has the soffit around with the ACT in the middle. It'll really help with acoustics. And then the next slide, it's raised a foot. And then the next slide, open to structure. So this option will obviously have the least acoustical benefits. But again, like the lighting in the ACT can change. We can adjust things like that. We just want to get your opinion on whether open to structure, if you're okay with, especially with an LVT floor, if you want to add some acoustics in there, I think would be beneficial.
Can we see it with the floor that we like?
And also, what happened to the first ceiling?
Yeah, also.
Yeah, so the ceiling one, it just has the carpet in there.
Was this the original ceiling that we saw?
Can-
Or what was the one with that?
Can
with-
we?
Yeah.
That.
What about this?
That.
We like this.
That. We like that.
What is that?
Those are acoustic panels up top?
Yes,
Yeah, I like that.
That's beautiful.
with linear lights instead of the,
Yeah. Are those lights?
Is that just different lights? That's it? Or, okay. So
Yeah.
which one is this one compared to the other ones you showed us?
this one is the regular height, so I think it's 9 feet.
Okay.
Can you raise that a foot?
Yes.
Oh,
That.
we should do that and raise it a foot.
Do that with
Yeah.
With the raise.
raise it a
10
foot.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was easy. Okay.
So the difference in the lights, so these lights would be all downlight. The recessed lights that we show, they're a combination down and up lights.
there's a- yeah.
So it's a little softer light. It's gonna be not as bright on you and casting as many shadows as the linear light.
Are these lights dimmable, or is it they're on?
They're dimmable, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the other one reads very office
they're
space to
both
me.
dimmable.
I'm not,
Okay.
that reads very office space to me. I think it
Yeah,
looks,
we can't do
Fair
that.
statement.
yeah, not interested.
That wouldn't be good in a party for pictures.
For the old sock hop.
So what I'm hearing is raise the ceiling up, get as much height as we can, and look at some alternatives for lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. And then I think we can skip a couple because we answered that really fast.
Yeah.
One more. Should show the fitness center.
Panel lights are better.
There it is. Okay, so this, we named it the cardio district. We can definitely change the name, so don't get hung up on that. It's just some signage that we threw up there to show some signage might be good up there, as well as some TVs. This is really the only spot where we're adding the green, just to kind of add more of a pop to the fitness areas. And then, yeah, that's the workout floor in the blue. And then you can see the track, it has two different grays that butt up to it. So the lines are the lighter gray, and I believe there's 3 lanes going through there.
I love it.
Any feedback on that one?
I like the ceiling like that. I think it looks nice to have it open and kind of more strip.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide, please.
Oh, wow.
And then here's the gym. So we brought that blue in, trying to be cohesive throughout the space. And then there's some dark blue pads for the basketball hoops for safety. And then if you notice at the top, we just put a fun mural up there because, you know, people are gonna be running and being active. So adding something on that wall would be beneficial. It doesn't have to be blue and orange. That's just something that we were going for. So
Makes sense.
Very nice. It's very nice.
I like that a lot, the whole thing.
Really nice.
Oh, I'll bet, Ryan, I bet you like that one.
I do like it. It's fantastic. The one thing I would say, and this is a minor thing on the basketball court, I would love to see Cardi the Crane there at half court.
Oh.
No,
I think that'd be awesome.
That's cute.
Put that right there. Yeah.
And then, just to point out, we brought the paint down to kind of match the angles of the windows.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, so we go to the next slide. And this is the last one, just to, because there's so many mirrors, there's not a ton of stuff on the walls in this one. But same floor, brought that blue paint back in, and then the lockers up there.
And this is the downstairs
Yes.
free weight
Free weight,
area.
yes. Thank you.
So this will all be full of like just gym equipment, right?
Correct,
So,
yes.
Okay.
It's an iron haven.
Mm-hmm. Pumps you up. This is a silly question, but is there a color to the equipment? Like, is it going to be white, like powder coat, or black, or?
I'm assuming black, but I don't know if that has been.
I don't know if it
That's not
matters
been
to the
decided
look
yet.
of. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
for later, yeah.
Sure.
But it's gonna be probably all the same color.
Yeah.
Whether it's white or red or black, we don't know yet.
Not red.
Red's not
Yeah,
allowed in
hopefully
there.
not red.
It just depends on who you buy the equipment from.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone good with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's plain, but I think once you get stuff in there,
Yeah.
it's gonna look good.
And you can always put signage on the walls, like above the mirrors as well, just
Iron
as an
Haven.
option.
Mm-hmm.
What is the around the framing of the mirrors? Because it's giving those mirror closet door look.
I think it's just like different mirrors, right? And just
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
not
little
one-
space between them.
It's not one continuous mirror, it's just the edge of the mirror. But there's no frame on the mirror.
They're frameless,
okay.
yeah.
It's just gaps in between.
I think it's just how the computer did the reflections
Mm-hmm.
on the glass.
Because they're butted up.
Yeah.
So it's just one solid piece of glass.
No, it's different panels,
sections, but
there's
they're
there's no
Okay,
there's no
okay.
gap in between.
There's no
Got it.
gap,
Yeah.
they're just butted up next to each other.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions or? We can, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Go to the next slide.
It's
Awesome.
a couple slides
that's
over.
Yes, we do like that. It's really pretty.
Yeah, so
wild about showers. Okay.
now this is all we had to show you guys.
So this is the flooring in bathrooms.
Okay.
And these are the 2 wall tiles.
Oh, love it.
That's really pretty.
The blue tile is intended to go behind water walls, and in shower instances, it wraps the wall just to make it more cohesive. But the baseline tile would be the white, so you would just have the pop of blue at any water walls.
Yeah. It's good.
Absolutely beautiful.
What are those shower curtains made of? And is there gonna be like a cleaning schedule?
Well, with this
Well,
system,
no, because they get like a film, you know what I mean? They get like a film on it from water, especially hard water, so making sure that I know it is.
they're gonna hire city council. That's how you're gonna earn your paycheck. You're gonna have city council come and clean the showers.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very good.
okay.
Go to Can we
Next slide,
auditorium?
please.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool too.
Just a quick, this is what I mean by blue on the water walls and then the white. It's kind of hard to see, but
like
there
that.
is white tile.
That's really pretty.
Next slide, please. Again, water walls. Next slide. And this is the teen room. So it kind of has a fun blue, it's not reading right on the rendering, but it's a blue marmoleum.
Okay. Yeah.
And it has some kind of orange fleck to it.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
And then bringing that same blue in.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Very durable, very sustainable, so that's a great product. And then we just kind of carried over that blue on the other side. The next slide, please. This is the kid zone. It's hard to see, but we added an angle on the far left side, just to kind of mimic the angle of the windows in the other spaces. And then we just kind of added a mural just to make it a little bit more fun. That would have the same flooring as the teen room. Next slide, please. Okay, here's an auditorium.
That's
So
beautiful.
we were thinking
Absolutely.
mural on the back and then kind of carrying over. It doesn't have to be these images. It's just an idea. And then
Does that wall actually face Mount St. Helens? Do you know?
that's a good question. I don't know.
Because if it did, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
So that wall, if you're looking at the wall, you're looking east.
Yeah.
So St. Helens would be behind.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
It's beautiful.
And then for the sauna, we're proposing like a cedar plank on the outside to kind of show like this is where the sauna is.
Yeah.
Kind of adds in a nice texture as well. And then I think there's one more. Yeah, just the other side.
I think that looks really nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
What do you not like?
No, I like all of
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Corey, I'm just telling you, when we put this in, we are gonna get calls from every high school in the county about hosting meets. I can tell you that, guaranteed.
Yep. Just like the Rourke.
Awesome. Any more feedback? Any questions?
Any other feedback, council, on this?
I just want to suggest that I think this is absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It surpasses my wildest imagination. It's, I'm thinking of a very sterile, stark brick building with, I don't think there's any citizen in our community that can anticipate right now what they're going to get. This is incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to make it fun for the community, so.
Like that. I know that this wasn't part of the presentation, and you've stressed that all of the murals are just kind of, just for placeholder right now, but if we could go back to the reception area, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things there, just to put it in, and they're just, I know we're gonna get to that. Way back. Oh, yeah, go that one, next one too. I like that one a lot, just that mural, just that style, but the next one, and then that right there. So the one from like the artwork from the Longhouse, and you have the refuge, and you have some of the houses. Like, I think that is a really cool look. And so I know that that's placeholder, but that'd be really intentional. I think that is a really cool way to have a nod to the refuge and the heritage of this community and what was here before. So it would be really cool if we can keep something like that, because that's familiar. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And then the last thing I was going to say is, I know that we were kind of all looking at this single palette, and like when you showed it, everything you showed, I love. I do love some of like the more orange tones in there too. I'm not super wild about the grain, and so the only thing I would say, and I'd leave it up to the professionals, but to say like I would probably swap out the green for the orange. But other than that, I really love everything you put together. You're very talented, so thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think that could definitely be swapped out, especially there's a little bit of orange in the carpet, so I think that is not a problem at all
Oh no, just like,
for interior.
yeah, in place of like where there's been green, I would do something like that. I don't like the orange tile, but I do like that orange swatch. So
Same. It does not, it's not cohesive.
We can also select a different orange, but
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's in there like in the artwork a little bit. You can see a little bit of that, and that's kind of what made me call that out. Other comments or at this point, council, anything, final thoughts?
I just want to say thank you for listening to all of our feedback last time. I know that's a lot of work,
No, absolutely. Thank you.
we appreciate it all.
Yes, great job.
This is an incredible job, truly. I know I kind of nitpick, but I think it's warranted on this bill. I just want people to walk
Absolutely.
in and just be in awe of what it looks like. So I think nitpicking is 100% warranted. I do have one small concern. On this flooring, the gray, the huge, yeah, is the pattern of the dark like really evenly distributed? Because on the sample, it almost looks like sole imprints from feet like stained on the floor. So when it's a large production, is it more like stamped and even?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
because not every tile is the same,
Okay.
so it'll
cool.
be more kind of ornate. It's not
Great.
just like a stamp.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and we appreciate your guys' feedback, so nitpick away.
Okay.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you again
Yeah.
so
Very
much.
much.
Thanks for bringing all this out here.
Yeah.
And thank you to everyone watching and bearing with us through this design workshop. Yeah.
And thus ends this episode of Design Workshop with City Council. HGTV is going to be running this over and over again.
On repeat. Yeah.
All
Riveting,
the time. Thank you, Mayor, Council, Stephen, listen, thank you very, very much for that. So if there's no other questions on that aspect of the project, we'll move into the next piece of the presentation, if that works for you?
Yep.
Perfect. So the next piece of the presentation will be Durgesh Patel, who is our project manager and is also the principal at Blue Rock Ventures and is a partner with us on this project. We'll turn it over to Durgesh to talk about timelines and where we're at.
If we can get the timeline. Can we get the timeline up?
Do you have?
I'll have to pull, we have to pull it up so that they can see it. Or I can see if I can pull it up on my phone.
Yeah. So we're going to pull up the timeline while we're doing that. Mr. Crownhart will talk about one of the next steps and give us an update on the capital campaign.
Wonderful. First off, I'll start off that I'm very tickled tonight that we're spending so much time talking about park stuff. This is wonderful. I'm very excited. And with that, we've been talking a lot tonight about the physical structure of this facility. And the reality is, it is a facility until we breathe life into it by bringing people to it. And as I've heard conversations amongst council and with leadership in the city, this is a space that is to become a beacon for our community, that is to serve as our living room for Ridgefield. Whether you've been here for 50 years or you moved here last week, you are welcome to come into this space because it is yours. And with that, I'm excited to be working on the capital campaign to help raise the funds to get people to support this facility that will be theirs. And so as we're stepping into a capital campaign to raise the funds for this facility, that is the first objective, and that is creating the opportunity by which the residents and individuals within Clark County can help support a facility that is for them. So we have partnered with Pacific Northwest Fundraising and Eddie Allen on developing the full breadth of this capital campaign, which will require a lot of work from that team and the city's team to help ensure that we're ready for this. Some of that work is going to come down to having things like proper case statements and branding of what the work is going to be, doing donor research and building profiles and lists for city manager and council to then go out and start having conversations of inviting people to be part of this project, monetarily or in other ways. Putting together full sponsorship catalogs of what might individuals be willing to sponsor within this facility, not just the naming of the facility, but also naming the pool, naming the natatorium, taking those elements that you saw tonight, such as the murals, and attaching dollar amounts to those and allowing individuals to help sponsor those and help have a say in what those things might be, which will then, of course, help fund the facility overall. We'll be working to make sure that we've got a whole slew of opportunities for connections to this facility, and not just major donors, but all the way down to small donors as well, because it belongs to all of us. The capital campaign team and myself are also working on building materials, as well as expanding the campaign to bring in as many donors as possible. And finally, I'll end that every great capital campaign really comes down to a number of things, and some of these you've already provided. One of them is a very clear vision of what you want this facility to be and mean for our community. Two, is that this campaign, just like the facility itself, is about connection and bringing people together. And to help the project move forward, building on the momentum of early donors to help continue the process to reach our full goal of raising the funds for this facility. So there's a lot of work happening in the background to make sure that you and city manager have the tools you need to be successful, and we're here to make sure that that is happening. We kicked off the capital campaign on Tuesday, and we're excited to spend the next year to essentially make all of this a reality. Thank you.
Council, any questions for Mr. Crownhart on this?
I didn't see your office space in the rendering.
There are still opportunities for making that change.
Okay.
Just gotta write that check.
Yeah, we haven't put a price tag on it yet. So.
Anybody else comments from? Okay, thank you so much. I'm actually looking forward to that, and I know that like just the way you presented it just instills a lot of confidence. I guess my only feedback would just like, let's move things forward. Let's get some momentum going here, because this community's been waiting a long time, and we were waiting on a former partner who did not move, and so we're hoping that we can show the community that when we get this going, we can get it done and we can move expediently and with a lot of enthusiasm. So all confidence in you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
And Mayor and Council, we'll go ahead and we'll have Durgesh get started on this, and then Stephen just got the timeline. We'll make sure that we get it up on the screen for you.
Okay.
But we'll go ahead and have Durgesh get started.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. And thank you, council members, for having me here today. Love to give this update. And so let me start by saying that we are on time and on budget. I'm going to knock on wood as I say that. And that's typically magic words in the world of construction for anyone that is in construction. So thank you. And there's the timeline. I didn't go into a lot of details. I wanted to keep the timeline a little bit high level. And so if you have any questions, let me know. I know we've got Kirk and Clary here from Permit and Finance who can talk to it. So in November, last month, we had an open house to invite all the GCs. This was a very successful event. We wanted to get all the GCs excited, especially right now. They're a little bit low on general contractors, sorry. And so we wanted to get the word out, letting them know what this is going to look like. CDs at that time, construction documents were not completed fully, but we gave them a little bit of a preview to get them excited. And that also allows them to go talk to subcontractors to kind of get the word out as far as this is going to come up in January. So that was in November, and we submitted all our permits last month, which was great because that was our original goal as well. So that's then December. Our construction docs are going to be completed here in about a week. Technically, completion and land use review has started, and then the LOI with Blue Rock Ventures will be completed this month as well, since Blue Rock will be building this. In January, our final permit review will be started and completed. Our bid package created for the bid to go out to GCs. This is the normal process that we have to go through. So the bid package is completed. We're going to send it out in January. We want to do that in January and not now because nobody really responds in December. So January is when we want to start it. We want to get everyone to start their questions, and that will start their Q&A with both Ada Architects and myself. That will take about 90 days, possibly to get to Q&A and get their final submission. So that's in January. February, we'll be answering questions from all the GCs to make sure that they have what they need to get a final proposal from them, which will be hard bids. And that's essentially them going out to all the contractors, getting their package put together on the two buildings that we're going to be building. And then March, we're going to be issued our permits. So that way the GCs also kind of have an idea about when we're going to be permit ready. That's very, very important. Can't do anything without that. April is when we're going to be selecting a GC. Based on all the feedback that we get, we'll have a round table. You guys will get a lot of updates between January and April as well. But April is right now tentative for selecting a GC and awarding the contract to them. And then June, July, we start construction. And that's the time frame as of now. And so, so far, we've kept up on timeline and on budget. And I think with everything considered, we'll be able to stay on track as well.
Durgesh, can you remind us how long the construction timeline is then?
16 months.
16 months?
Correct. As of now. We'll get a final number from the GCs. They're the experts in that. But as of right now, that's what we have estimated. Any questions that I can answer?
Council, any questions? No, thank you. I guess just kind of going back to Ms. Crownhart's presentation, does any of this coincide, any of the work that you're doing on the capital campaign, is construction contingent upon the capital campaign at all?
So that all kind of works together.
Yeah.
That's why this presentation, that's why there are three pieces to it, is because all of it does work together. We have, the design being finalized helps us get the slide deck together that helps with the capital campaign. The capital campaign helps defray the costs associated with the project such that the $15 million that is in next year's budget that the council has already allocated for next year, that bonding will occur likely in March of next year. So between now and March, we're going to be getting going on the capital campaign to build more funds to get between the $15 million that is allocated, that's identified in the 2026 budget, to be able to fund the community center and look to actually fund more than that. And get as close to being able to fund the entire facility as possible, which lowers any lease costs that might actually exist once it gets finished. So the more money we raise, the lower the lease on the rest of the facility on it. So yeah, it all does fit together, and timing wise, We are looking at, by end of first quarter next year, 2026, to be out there looking for that highest level naming rights sponsor. And what you're looking at, I mean, 2006, the Furstenberg Community Center identified a naming sponsor, the Furstenberg family, and that was $3 million that was given by the Furstenbergs to the city of Vancouver for that community center. And again, that was almost 20 years ago with a smaller facility by both budget and size. So those are the kinds of things our capital campaign team are looking at to figure out what are those highest level sponsors, and then how can we actually create those opportunities at the highest level to build more funds to lower the overall cost, that the delta between what you've already identified and what the overall project cost will be.
Okay. So I guess two follow-on questions, and forgive me if this was spoken to and I didn't understand it, but like, are we talking holistically community and rec center, or just community center for this? Because you said the 15 million, I know that it's greater than that.
So, and that's one of the things that we've been working on since the pivot. So, and I mentioned the pivot. So when the former potential partner decided it wasn't going to be a good fit for them, this council already knew that was a possibility and knew it a while ago. And so there was always this understanding that if they backed out, if they did not move forward on the project, that we would have other options moving forward. The options that we are moving forward with are to identify another partner or partners to be able to provide services, management, or otherwise own pieces of this facility, whether it be the recreation center or the community center. The buildings themselves, there are actually two buildings that look like one. You've seen them in the renderings. It looks seamless. It's one building. Legally, practically, it's actually two buildings. They function as two assets, both legally and financially, that can be borrowed against or that can be funded or financed. So when we talk about the community center, we talk about a single asset along with the recreation center that, for the users, seamless. For us, when we're looking at the finances, when we're looking at the construction and how we structure all of the partnerships, it can be positioned in a variety of different ways. So it's not a great answer to you as like, is there a final answer? There's not. No, there's options. That's the great part, is that we're in this position where we have a council and a community that are committed to breaking ground in June of next year on a project that will at the very least have the community center replicating what we used to have in this city. The recreation center, the financing for that, Blue Rock Ventures has financing for that facility, and I'm looking at Durgesh so he doesn't throw something at me. But we need to be identifying partners as far as who's going to be owning, leasing back, operating, managing that facility, and that work is underway right now. Legally, what we're looking at is we have several different ways to skin this, both financially and practically. There are different ways to actually create and structure the partnerships. Those will be coming to you. Like Durgesh said, the first will be a letter of intent that will come to you next month, the first meeting in January. There will be other agreements, other partnership agreements with potential partners, including Blue Rock, but also others, that we'll be bringing to you in the first quarter of next year.
Great. So short answer, TBD on that, but it's not going to impact this timeline that you just presented.
Correct.
Okay. I'm good with that for right now. Councilor Davis.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of this will be answered a little bit later, but I just want to put it out there. In terms of the development, the selection of the GC, is that stuff we're going to be doing in-house, or is that a Blue Rock?
Some of both. I mean, that'll be part of the LOI, is developing which partner does what. It will be a public bid process. It will be done with prevailing wage because there are public funds that are being brought to bear.
Okay.
So the way we structure that, that's what both Mr. Johnson, myself, Ms. Parker, we've had a lot of conversations internally and then with Durgesh, with Mr. Patel, on how you can structure the bid process so that it is most efficient, effective, and it gets the best possible bid.
Okay.
Because that's the goal, right? The goal is to use the bid environment that we have to get the best possible bid for this entire structure for our residents.
Yeah.
Great. I've got a comment.
Councilor Wells.
My comment is that looking at this timeline, it's aggressive, which is good. I'm not complaining, but I would like to see an update monthly of how we're moving forward with the timeline that's set up here and how we've progressed on it.
Absolutely.
So that we can compare and see where we're at.
I'm happy to do that. And that's something we can also work on our public-facing piece as well on Ridgefield Roundtable. It's been a while since we've updated the facility on Ridgefield Roundtable, so that's something that we can be updating more regularly as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Pavello.
I know that we have criteria when we do bids of, certain components that need to be met, but I'm really hopeful that if we need to add any criteria for that we're getting a general contractor who has the same passion that we have and that can come in and do this project flawlessly, and not have any hiccups along the way that would prolong this unnecessarily.
Absolutely. And certainly the addition of supplemental bidder criteria that we've used for these past few projects has been instrumental in helping us get better contractors. And I will say, like the GC, the general contractor roundtable was great. There was a really good group. I don't remember, how many did we have?
Well over 2 dozen. Do you know the final count, Stephen?
I don't recall the people count, but there was about 7 or 8 general contractors.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had 7 or 8 GCs just at this preliminary meeting. Really good excitement for it. I've actually talked directly with at least 3 general contractors who are already talking it up that they want to be the ones creating this for our community. So yeah, I think there's some good excitement around that.
Good. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Last thing I'll just say is that this is a high priority project, I think, for this council and for this community. And so I know that it's been a long time coming, and kind of per to my last comments, momentum is key, and I'm excited to see. Thank you, Durgesh, for your contribution so far. There's a lot of trust there, and we continue to place trust in you as well as we do with staff. And Ada, you guys are doing a fantastic job, but keep the momentum up, and that there's a lot of eyes on that. And to Councilor Wells' point, I think that getting more frequent updates as we start to pick up speed will be helpful. But
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it, Yep.
Great. Okay. That concludes our presentation portion of the evening. We can move on to business. 2 hours into this. Our first item of business tonight is the second reading of ordinance number 1464. This is a Ridgefield Municipal Code Amendments Part 2. We'll go to Ms. Lust. And as people are clearing out, I'll let you just kind of get started.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council, members of the public. This is the second reading of the second batch of proposed code amendments that Planning Commission and Council have reviewed this fall. So just waiting for it to quiet down a notch. Just as a reminder, this batch of amendments you saw last on October 23rd and held a public hearing. There are several topics contained in this batch of amendments, including housekeeping items, housing and residential development code amendments, trail amendments, critical areas, landscaping, water conservation, as well as a couple miscellaneous items, including that provision I know Council kind of highlighted last time to allow for payment of commercial traffic impact fees in installments. So since we last touched on this in late October, there were a couple items that needed to be adjusted, so those are the ones I'm going to cover in my presentation, and then I'll turn it back over to Council for any further questions. So referring to the summary, which starts on packet page 24. First section is all housekeeping amendments. Again, these are ones that don't have any policy implications. They're just cleanup. No changes on those since the last time you saw them. The next section of the table are the housing code amendments, and there are a few things to note in here. First of all, there were a couple of items, if you'll recall, to do with narrow lot, single-family detached residential development. One would have been to allow 2-story single-family detached products in the medium density zone. The other had to do with allowing side entries. Council you directed us to table those and address them instead through a development agreement for a specific project rather than sort of making this blanket change in the code. So those items have been removed. Next, we had an item in there that we are still noodling on. It's a really important one. It's the amendment that would create code language and requirements around slopes for residential lots. Still working with engineering on that. We have some good ideas, but just need a little more time to finalize those and also vet them with the development community before we bring them back to you in January. So that is not in this batch, but will still be coming back. The items about accessory dwelling units, the 60-day comment period with the Department of Commerce closed out. They provided one comment that we did need to address, which was just a quick change to explicitly permit ADUs in the RMD 16 zone. They're required to be permitted in any zone where single-family housing is allowed. Still bound by setback, lot coverage requirements, et cetera. So that has been updated per state requirements. We had proposed another item to do with ADUs to reduce the review procedure from a type 2 to type 1. Neither Planning Commission nor Council were excited about that, so we did remove that proposal from this batch. The final housing item that was changed between first and second reading had to do with CCNRs, creating a provision for staff to approve minor changes to CCNRs when they do not have a quote-unquote significant effect on a city facility or city right. That definitely drew some discussion for what is and isn't significant. So to clean that up, we removed that word. Now the proposal is that if they impact a city facility or city right, full stop, those changes still need to go to council. If they don't, staff can review them. And then scrolling to packet page 32, the final change since your last touch on these is we had an item in there under landscaping for explicitly requiring drought-resistant plants in development landscaping. Planning Commission made a recommendation to explicitly require native species in development landscaping. Council directed us to seek a compromise between encouraging and requiring native species. Where we're going with this is to create incentives for native species, and staff has some good ideas, but this is another one where we just need a little bit more time. So it's off of this batch, but we'll be coming back to you in January. Those are all the changes. So Mayor, I will turn it back to you for any questions.
Thanks, Ms. Lust. Well, thank you very much for that. Council, I'll look to you all for questions on this, on these proposed amendments at this point, and we'll start at my far end here. Councilor Hamilton, do you have anything?
Yeah, not a huge question. When I was just reading through on the ADU 18.206.030, I just was thinking, like, is there a way? I had two thoughts. So, like, taking the percentage of the ADU versus the standard dwelling. So, like, if it's 1,000 square foot ADU and it's a 3,000 square foot house, just dividing those two and creating a system so that it wouldn't be such a big impact fee. Or by installments, kind of like we were talking about with traffic impact fees and stuff. If there was a way to, it doesn't have to be done right now, it was just a thought that came in my head that I wanted to bring up.
Sure, so as a reminder, as proposed, the standard would be that for an ADU, the impact fees could not be charged at a rate greater than 50% of what would be charged for the parent residence. So if I'm understanding correctly, that would be to sort of make that a sliding scale rate up to 50%, which is the limit per RCWs, but could be lower if the ADU is a lower percentage of area.
Yes, and I think the reason I took this note was about the space not having a full kitchen was kind of what prompted the thought.
if the space doesn't have a full kitchen, it's not an ADU, it's just extra space, so it would not have to pay any.
I think it was just, there was a highlight in there about that is a shorter-term solution, that we might be looking for a longer-term solution was the note. And so that was just my thought about a longer-term solution.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Burkle, Councilor Wells, nothing? Anything over here? Councilor Davis?
Come on, there we go. I just want to thank Director Lust for the work you put in. It's, you know, been a lot of changes, and also the Planning Commission for their thoughtfulness as well. So I agree with a lot of it. I think of a lot of it. It does make sense that I was kind of curious about how we would handle the HOA piece, and I think you landed at a good spot with that. So I appreciate that. And I guess lastly, the work that we did regarding color palettes, I feel like prepared us for the work that we undertook tonight as well. It refined our design sensibilities.
You may notice that I haven't brought that back to you yet, but it'll come back, don't worry.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We will be ready. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay, other questions for staff at this point, council? All right, that's it, right? Okay. Good, if that's the case, then Ms. Diana, would you please read the ordinance into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 1464, an ordinance of the City of Ridgefield, Washington, amending chapters within titles 2, 7, 8, 12, 13, 15, 18, and 20 of the Ridgefield Municipal Code.
Thank you. Okay, council, with that, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 1464 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Davis, second by Burkle. Any discussion?
I do have a comment. In them codes that we had the changes, does that cover signs?
Not this batch.
That'll be the next batch
okay.
that came to hearing a couple weeks ago, and we'll come back to you for any action in January.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion, council? All right, hearing none, Ms. Diana, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Favela?
Yes.
Councilmember Wells?
Aye.
Councilmember Burkle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chipman?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Aye. Thank you, council. Motion passes, and the ordinance is adopted. All right. We're going to move on to a public hearing tonight. This is a big one. The public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 1469. This is the 2026 proposed budget. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and the residents who are willing to stay for the best presentation of the night.
This is the one that makes all those other presentations possible. So it is.
We would not be able to have recreation centers if we didn't do this
That's
particular.
right.
That's right.
You're absolutely right.
Bottom line, this has been a long
Yes,
and
it
difficult process since May when we started with the council retreat. We've had multiple touches, both with the Budget Advisory Committee and with council. We're on our third public hearing now, and this would be the final public hearing pending that council doesn't want any additional changes made to the budget. So just a very quick snapshot. If we go to slide 3, please. The overall budget, budgeted revenue is just over 80 million, and the budgeted expense is just under 81 million, using about 899,000 in fund balance to fund some one-time and strategic capital projects. So the operating funds budgeted revenue is 26.8 million and 27.9 million in expense. Part of that is transferring funding from some of the operating funds over to fund those one-time projects. So what we're asking council to do, you've already heard everything about the budget, so we're not going into detail tonight, is if you have any questions regarding the budget, as we've talked about it, it has not changed since October. The other item that you do approve as well is our full-time equivalent staffing level, which is going up by 4 staff members, which would be transitioning our current contract attorney to a full-time position at the city, 2 additional police officers, and an engineering technician, and then providing budget for staff to make a decision on 2 additional seasonal positions, 1 for street maintenance and 1 for sewer maintenance. With that, we've talked about this quite a bit, so I'll entertain any questions you have, and then we do have a public hearing tonight.
Great, okay, council, it's been a long time coming, but any questions for Mr. Johnson or staff at this point on the budget? I'm looking around. Okay, you're in the clear, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. With that, I'm going to open the public hearing. Excuse me. Okay, we're gonna go to public hearing right now. The public hearing is now open. If you signed up with the city clerk before the meeting, your name will be called and you'll receive permission to unmute your microphone or step up to the podium. If you did not sign up in advance but would like to speak, please use this raise hand feature on your toolbar. If you're joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and press *6 to mute or unmute. The city clerk will grant you permission to speak, and when speaking, please state your name and keep your comments to 3 minutes. There will be no back and forth between the council. This public hearing is now open. Is there anybody in the room tonight who has signed up or would wish to give comment during this public hearing? Anybody at all? Okay. And I will look to Miss Diana. Anybody online who is wanting to give comment?
I do not see anybody.
Okay. I'll hold it open just for a few seconds longer, just to make sure there's nobody in the room who wishes to give comment. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and we will move on. Miss Diana, would you please read the ordinance into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 1469, an ordinance for the City of Ridgefield, Washington, adopting the 2026 budget and providing for the effective date thereof.
Great, thank you. Council, with that, I would accept a motion for the budget.
Motion to approve ordinance number 1469 as presented.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Davis, seconded by Councilor Favela. Any remaining discussion? Hearing none. Miss Diana, please call a roll.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Favela?
Yes.
Councilmember Wells?
Yes.
Councilmember Burkle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chipman?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Aye. Thank you very much, Council. The budget passes unanimously. Thank you very much. On to a new year. You all earned your key.
I didn't hear what he had.
Okay, we're going to move on to our second public comment period of the evening. Anyone wishing to speak to council regarding items not subject to a specific public hearing may come forward at this time. Please state your name and limit comments to 3 minutes. For controls over the phone, press *9 for raise your hand and press *6 to mute or unmute. State your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anybody wishing to give public comment tonight? Seeing none in the room. Miss Diana, anybody online?
I do not see anybody.
Okay, we are going to go ahead and move on to council reports. Is there anybody who's itching to go first tonight? I know we kind of go in order, but I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer. Okay, Councilor Favela, go ahead.
I don't want to talk about any meetings. What I want to talk about is how thankful I am for watching our community come together during the holiday season. We had Thanksgiving come, and the amount of people that just poured meals into other families who were in need. And now as we come to Christmas, for those who celebrate, watching the community come together and make sure that families are supported, it warms my heart. And I don't know of any other city that really shows up and shows out like Ridgefield does. And I'm just proud to be here, and I'm proud to see our community show up for one another, because that really at the heart of it is what community is all about, is making sure that you are there for your neighbor regardless if you know them or not. So I am eternally grateful for every single person who has saw someone in need, or just out of the kindness of their own heart wanted to do something special for someone, whether they knew them or not. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Go Go ahead.
I'm going to follow up on that because being on the board of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, we have really had that type of thing go on this last couple of weeks. So much food has come in and a lot of money has come in, and it has been just a terrific blessing. So we served 74 families with food boxes this last week for Thanksgiving. And wow, there were some very, very, very thankful people. We have been getting quite a bit of food from Costco now on Mondays, and that has also been very, very helpful. And we got a grant to buy a couple new refrigerators. Mr. Wells went and picked them up for us from Home Depot the other morning, which was very helpful. They were very big refrigerators, and trying to get them back over to here and then get them to neighbors and then get them onto the porch and then get them into the building was just a whole experience in itself. But anyway, we got it done, and they're there, and we're very grateful. And I want to read something that Katie brought to me because I was not even aware of this. But the other thing that Neighbors does is they give away Christmas presents to the kids of the families that live within our zip code. And the city of Ridgefield takes 40 or 50 tags. Many different companies take tags and help us, but I didn't realize how many Clark Cowlitz Fire took, but they took 30 tags, or maybe over 30. But she just went to the meeting and heard about this today, and so I'll read it to you. So a request came in. She said Clark Cowlitz Fire Department took over 30 tags for gifts for children, and a request came in via email for 2 bikes for children. And a staff from the CARES program with the fire department and her family owns the Outer Rim Bike Shop here in Ridgefield. So they donated 2 bikes for this family. And then the Clark Fire Rescue Chief nominated Neighbors Helping Neighbors for a donation of $500 from the Kindness 911 on behalf of the Clark Cowlitz Fire District, which I was not aware of either, and we haven't received it, but we will. So that's another terrific boost for us. So anyway, it has been a great couple of weeks, and we really appreciate the people of Ridgefield and the other areas that have been supporting. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Anybody else wanting to go next? Sure. Okay, Councilor Burkle.
Talking about kindness, Compassion 360 partnered with the Ridgefield Lions Club, and we gave 250 baskets of food for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So just to parallel your comments, Ridgefield is a truly, truly, truly remarkable community. Just one other comment. I had the opportunity to go to the grand opening of another new wonderful business in Ridgefield, and it warms my heart every time we have a grand opening, another business in our community. And this one is Lemon Drop. I guess it's for women's, how do you describe it?
Lemon Drop aesthetics, so it's injectables,
Medi-spa.
yeah, Medi-spa, so.
Well, it was
Chemical peels, all the things. It's wonderful. And we're
Botox.
welcoming them.
wonderful new business into our community, and we proudly welcome them. One other comment, which is just if you need a Christmas tree, the Lions Club has a number of them, and we would love to sell you one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Wells.
Okay, I want to comment on the lemon drop ribbon cutting also. When I went, I actually talked to the mayor, myself, and Mr. Burkle went. When I went, I talked to Councilman Burkle, and I was wondering how a little candy store that sells lemon drops was going to survive in the city of Ridgefield.
I'm disappointed it wasn't that.
That was my personal feeling. But I got
Martinis.
but I got there, and I think we were the only 3 males there, and there was probably 50 females.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
And I thought, what are we getting into? But it was really, like Council Burke said, that it was enlightening to see the drawing that business had for people showing up there that evening. It just, It was phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. So-
Absolutely. That's good.
I
Yeah.
thought they were going to make martinis there myself. Lemon drop
Oh,
martinis.
were you there too?
No, I was
No,
not. I
okay.
forgot about it.
Thank you, Counselor. Let's see, Counselor Hamilton.
Can you imagine a business only selling lemon drop candies? That is hilarious. I love that. Okay, so on the lines of community engagement and all the wonderful things, I echo everyone's sentiments. I did my final strategic planning session for the school district, and it was such a cool experience. I'm really glad I got to be a part of that. And then I went to the Ridgefield Main Street Board of Directors meeting, and I want to give a shout out to our mayor's wife, Kellyanna. She put together an incredible presentation and really streamlined a lot of the things that we've been wanting to grab from that organization and put into place as far as messaging and branding and who we are, what we are, and there's a lot of great plans in the works. There was a strategic planning meeting in November that I feel like a lot of good stuff came out of, and I'm seeing the fruits of that conversation start, so I thought that was really exciting. And then today, went to the BAA Land Use Development Lunch, and I got to see how many people have stars in their eyes for Mayor Cole. He had a line of people wanting to talk to him. I was like, pardon me, let me step out of the way here. But it was awesome. It was a really cool lunch, and learned a lot. That's a subject that I continue to want to learn and grow in. And then just another fun shout out, Turkey Trot. That was a great turnout. They raised $47,000.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Our community's pretty cool. That's it.
Great, thanks, Counselor. Who's left? Davis? Yeah. All right.
All right, yeah, thank you. Speaking of Turkey Trot, I had a fun time. This year I got a running buddy, Mr. Henry Cole, and I went and did the course together, which was a lot of fun. It's just one of those fun things to get together on Thanksgiving morning with a bunch of people, and just coming together to burn some calories before you replenish them later in the day, I guess. I guess just earlier today, Mr. Crownhart and I sat in with the Clark County Parks Task Force. We learned about the programs in Battleground and Vancouver, so that's just an update on that work. It sounds like we'll be picking it back up in January, where we'll learn about a couple more communities before we start really trying to maybe dial in some findings from that to be able to send up to the county. So far so good. It's been really interesting learning about these other systems so far and being able to share all the cool stuff that we're doing. But that's what I got.
Okay, great. Thanks, Counselor. From my effort, a couple of these things have been mentioned. I was going to talk about Turkey Trot, and it was good to see so many people there. I think it was over 1,100 people that showed up. I was trying to count. My wife and I would run the finish line, and we'd try and we'd hand out prizes and stuff. And I was trying to count. I lost count at 400 and something. So I can't believe I held on that long. But it was really kind of cool to see. And they did raise $47,000, and it was a really good turnout as always. And my family, it just reminded me of my family earlier this year, I guess before the school year started, we did a family state of the family kind of meeting, and we kind of outlined what we wanted to do for the year, what are some trips we want to go on, what are some things we want to do and achieve, and we came up with a theme. It was called, everyone agreed it's called Show Out, right? And so you want to show out. Don't show up, just show out. It's show that you are committed to something and that you are not just present, but you're actually engaged in something. And this community really shows out every step of the way. And I'm always just amazed by things on Turkey Trot, a holiday, and that so many people want to come up so early in the morning to run, but it's great. Last night, speaking of community and showing out, several of us attended the Ridgefield Raptors, had a holiday party. I got to go and represent the city there and just kind of say a few words about our partnership. And it was really cool after that, just having a few brief conversations with community members, or actually not just people, but also Tony, who owns the team, came up and he was just telling me how thankful he is for the partnership and how lucky he feels that he got to locate his team here in Ridgefield. And I didn't know this, it was a competitive process, and there was another team from another league who was actually kind of in the mix for it. And consequently, that league is no longer. And so we really lucked out getting the Raptors on board, but it's a really good organization, and they're just as bought in to showing out with us as a community as well. I want to turn my comments now just to another subject that's kind of more policy related, just to update all of you, council, on it. And I apologize, I'm going to be as quick as I can, but I would welcome comments or questions if you have it. So as you know that we've been working on this, on C-Tran, and there's this board composition issue that we've been going through, I think since late summer. And where we ended up with a couple of weeks ago when I updated you was we originally were pursuing the 3-3-3 board composition, which was 3 from the county, 3 from the city of Vancouver, and 3 from the small cities, all the other small cities. In order to get that, it's under a permanent stay because it went to Superior Court in Thurston County and the judge ruled a stay, but we had to figure out something. So what the small cities got together and we said, hey, we would do a 4-3-2, which means 4 for the city of Vancouver, 3 for the county, and only 2 for the small cities. We would do that, but there was a couple of conditions that were offered in that. One of the conditions was that that funding for potential light rail transit could not come from small city PTBA funds. That small cities would not be on the hook to pay for that. And in addition to that, I offered an amendment. This one's a little more complex, but there's a statute in the RCW that says a majority of the governing board may not be selected to represent a single component city. That doesn't say a single jurisdiction representing that, but a component city who's participating in that. Well, going to a 4-3-2 where maybe one component city would have 4 seats. And then there would be county council members with 3 seats, and 2 of those county council districts reside primarily in Vancouver, would potentially, in my view, violate the statute. And so what we've heard all along is the plain reading of the language, and we got to follow the law, and we got to get there, and that's why we have to go to 4-3-2. And why WashDOT, some reason, wants to sue everybody for it, because I'm still not really quite sure what their interest is in that, because they're just supposed to just follow the direction of the board and the law. But anyways, that said, that's where we ended up. That motion carried, I think, it carried for both of those conditions. Earlier this week, the county council met on this issue. It sounds like they had quite a discussion around it. Where they ended up with it is they believe that they're on board with the financial stipulation, the condition we put on that, which means that they're okay with small cities saying we don't want to be a part of the light rail funding process. The second one, which I offered up, which said the county council would have to kind of figure out how they would allocate their board seats, did not give Vancouver a potential majority. They said they rejected that one, which no surprise there. I think that they were kind of tepid on that at the meeting itself. Vancouver City Council met earlier this week and also just had a lengthy discussion about this during their council time as well. And where they ended up with is they said we would be in favor of just abandoning all conditions. And it sounds like there will be a motion made at the C-Tran board meeting next week, which would say, hey, forget the conditions that the BCRC came up with. We just want to propose a straight 4-3-2. So with that, there's some discussions being had right now, and it's a question of what is our position and what role do we want to take. And there's going to be some decisions we have to make. Councilor Davis is the alternate on the C-Tran board right now, so it has a little bit of work for us to do on that board, and some other discussions. I have some discussions with some other mayors, I think tomorrow, that we'll be having on it. But we're at a kind of an inflection point with this, and in that how long do we want to continue this debate around board composition and what is the impacts to us long range? The thing I keep coming back to, and the impact on this, I keep kind of wrestling with this, thinking like, how big is this board composition issue at all? Like, why do we want to really keep wrestling with this? Is this where we want to really, is this the hill we want to die on? It's not a hill that I particularly want to die on, but as I think about the growth of this city, and I did a podcast interview yesterday where we talked about this, but since 2020, this city has grown 58%. And we have some real emerging needs as we're looking at our 20-year comprehensive plan update. And as we look at the infrastructure that we're going to need, the public transit needs as we continue to grow by potentially another 10,000 people, if not more, over the next 20 years, there will be some real implications on what kind of transit solutions we need here, and then what kind of input we would have on C-Tran. What I've heard from others, other jurisdictions, with potentially more board seats, is to say, this kind of act of benevolence, like, we will listen to you. We are interested in representing the entire community, and I believe there's a good faith effort in that. But at the same time, that same council has also voted to just kind of negate what these small cities have said that they need to have on a voice on this issue. And so I think that benevolence sort of went out the window right away when they abandoned what the small cities said that they needed. And so, I bring that up for council. If you have questions about it, I'm not looking for necessarily direction or a lengthy discussion on it, but, maybe kind of a nod on what you're thinking of it and to share that because, I think there's some long-term impacts there. And also just looking at what we need as a city and, from a funding portion of it, this city pays into it, I think upwards of $3 million a year into our public transportation benefit area.
4 million.
4 million, almost 4 million, and we don't get even 10% of that back in C-Trans services. And I know it's a little bit more complex than that, but when you take a voice away there, I think that begs the question of what the heck are we gonna do here? Because we have some real transportation needs. And further, there's a real discussion about, other small cities potentially, wanting to start the process of leaving C-Tran, which would fracture the entire public transit system in Clark County, which I don't think is good for the community. And I worry that if Vancouver were to disregard what the small cities want, that it would tip that off and then the whole thing could come unraveled real dang quick. So anyways, that's the update from right there. There's a meeting this week. I think it should be pretty eventful. Council, I will keep you updated as I have meetings, as will, I'm sure, Councilor Davis and Mr. Stewart. But that's my update tonight. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. Councilor Wells.
I don't have a question, I've got a comment. I think we need to keep our oar in the water, and I think we need to stick with our conditions that we have there and not back down.
Yeah.
So that's my input to our delegates.
Great. I appreciate that. It's really valuable. Thank you.
So they want to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
So they want to negate the part about us not wanting to be responsible for the light rail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should stick with our thought on that.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions on that before we move on? I know that's kind of a weighty issue to kind of throw into the last minute, but it is my update. It's been kind of a big deal. So, okay, great. Thank you. After that, Mr. Stewart, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council and the community. Just a couple of final items. First of all, just putting the finishing touches on the budget. Thank you for your work. Thank you to the Budget Advisory Committee. And because he won't say it, thank you to Mr. Johnson and his team. He truly does amazing work. And we're on an excellent trajectory. We have a stable budget. We have the ability to fund our priority services and maintain the level of service even as we grow. And that is a testament to the work of this council and certainly to Mr. Johnson and his team as well. And it started with the budget retreat, but there were a whole bunch of people behind the scenes working on being as efficient as possible with the resources that they have, and even looking at how they may even be able to reduce some of their expenditures in areas that don't reduce level of service. And we talked about that a lot early in this process, and I don't want that to be forgotten because it was hard work, and it was work that was done from frontline personnel all the way through management teams. So great work by everybody on that. The other great work I wanted to make sure I made note of is that Ms. Naniris will likely tell us more about what's going to happen this Saturday, but there is a huge number of people. There are a lot of people that have been putting together hometown celebration and getting it ready. Everything from the Greeley building to putting lights on the telephone poles to getting the tree up. I mean, all downtown is starting to really light up, and it's our public works team, it's our events team, it's just everybody, all hands on deck. So great work happening behind the scenes to make Saturday special for people. And that's the last thing. And my update is, speaking of Saturday and special, we have 2 ribbon cuttings to celebrate on Saturday. One of them is at 1:30. It's downtown. It's 2 doors down from City Hall, and that's Work Real Estate. We'll be celebrating their grand opening, so there'll be a ribbon cutting there. And then at 3 p.m. out of the Junction, McDonald's will be celebrating their grand opening. I know they're going to have a whole bunch of fanfare associated with their grand opening. Ben and Jen McLaren, which I think is perfect for people who own McDonald's franchises. That I don't know if they added the Mick after they got the franchise. I'm not sure how that works exactly, but Ben and Jennifer McLaren are the owners of the franchise here in Ridgefield. Great folks. I hope people will go out there and meet them, get to know them a little. They're already looking at how they can become more engaged in the community. So we'll be excited to see that and then see you all downtown. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Stewart. Council, any questions for the city manager?
And you want us at the tree at what time?
4:30 is like kind of at the latest, 4:15 be better, but by 4:30 at the latest.
Great, thank you. Okay, Mr. Thamert from Public Works.
I don't have anything tonight, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for, okay, you're off the hook. Mr. Johnson, before you go on vacation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anything else tonight. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. No, I just would echo that, what Mr. Stewart said. Thank you to you and your team for all your work. You do an outstanding job, and I know we say it a lot, but can't say it enough, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Lust.
I'll just say congratulations and welcome to our new Planning Commission members, and thank you, Mayor Cole and Council, for making us whole again.
Ms. Notnaris.
Just quickly, yes, Saturday is Hometown Celebration, which I think is really a community celebration. This is an opportunity for all of our downtown businesses and nonprofit organizations and anyone who wants to decorate a tree, but everyone really comes out in the community, just like you've been talking about, to make this a special day for the city of Ridgefield. We have quite a few vendor markets. The city will have about 80 vendors. Church of the Nazarene has a vendor market. And the Union Ridge will also have their kids market. We will, of course, have the Breakfast with Santa and the craft station and other activities. Here, the Art Association is going to have a show in this very room. The schools are coming out with all of their choirs and bands on Overlook Park stage as well as around town. We have, looking to see how old everyone is in here. We have lots of Santas coming. Everyone thinks that they need to do Santa, but the best one will be at Liberty Theater. And of course, it all ends with a fabulous tree lighting with dance fusion and singing and cocoa and cookies and a beautiful tree lit. And that's really kind of one of, I think, the most special times of year when those lights go on. So I think that's about it.
That's it.
Well, there's probably more. That's all I remember.
Great. Okay, Ms. Parker, I think you're online still. I hope you hung on with us this long.
I sure have, but I don't have anything to report, so just happy to answer any questions and to see all the exciting things that are going on in the city.
Great. Any questions for the city attorney? Okay, great. I think you're off the hook. I'll just say again to you, thank you for your work on the response on the BCRC issue as well. I know you've gone to bat for us there, so thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And then lastly, Chief Doria, welcome back. Good to see you. Any updates from you?
Nothing to add tonight. Portugal was amazing and glad to be back and happy to answer any questions.
Anything? Okay, great. Thank you again. Okay, with that, this meeting is hereby adjourned.